spectacle in sports. The Olympic Games return to America on NBC.
The two-year reign of a respected champion has come to an end. And now, two new teams vie for the NBA title. Teams that have traveled vastly different paths in pursuit of this prize. For 3 memorable years, red and black were the colors of royalty in the NBA. One man was largely responsible for this exquisite run of sustained excellence. Now, in his first full season back from retirement, Michael Jordan has done what seemed impossible. He has added to his already exalted reputation. He led the Chicago Bulls to an historic regular season, and they've continued their run of superiority into the playoffs. Overshadowed by the Bulls' dominance, the Seattle Supersonics got here by shaking off the specter of past failures. Now these Sonics step onto the NBA's biggest stage for the first time against a team many have already declared the best of all time. An assessment the Sonics could alter, but only by pulling off one of the greatest upsets in sports history. Game 1, next.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1996 NBA Finals.
And after 2 years away, the NBA Finals return to Chicago.
What time is it? Game time!
With the Bulls hosting these Seattle Supersonics, haunted the last 2 years by first-round playoff failures, they have at last reached the finals, but tonight they find themselves in the unaccustomed role of underdog. The Chicago Bulls, intent on completing a unique basketball odyssey, greeted moments ago by their roaring fans, most of whom view title number 4 as a foregone conclusion. Hi again, everybody. I'm Bob Costas, and welcome to these NBA Finals. With due respect to the Seattle Supersonics and apologies to their fans, the prevailing attitude in Chicago and through most of the country, really, is that these NBA Finals loom not so much as a competition as a coronation. It's up to the Sonics to change that impression tonight, to convince the Bulls and the basketball public that they have come here as true foes, not mere foils. What a strange position for a team as good as the Sonics to be in. A team that won 64 regular season games this year, a total seldom exceeded in NBA annals. A team that in other years, against other competition, might very well be regarded as the favorite to win it all. And yet the Chicago Bulls have been installed as 10-1 favorites in this series, which means that at least in that sense, this is viewed as the greatest mismatch in NBA Finals history. If that's so, then the Bulls are on the verge not just of a championship, but of the completion of one of the golden seasons in the history of American team sports. To be compared not just to the Lakers, Celtics, and Sixers of the past, but to the 1927 Yankees, to Shula's 17-0 Dolphins, or any other team from any other era you want to throw in there. All very interesting, and based on what the Bulls have done so far, all very valid. But let Seattle come in here and take one of these first two games, well, then the Bulls won't be thinking so much about their place in history as about what next week and 3 straight games in Seattle might hold for them. That, as they say, is why they play these games. Tip-off for Game 1 is about 10 minutes away. Marv Albert, Matt Guokas, and Bill Walton will join us from courtside when we come back to the United Center right after this. Back in Chicago, a look down at the United Center just minutes before Game 1 of the NBA Finals, the Seattle Supersonics and the Chicago Bulls. And as we prepare to send it to our game announcers, we note that this has been a big week in Chicago. First, the Olympic torch passed through the city on Monday, and then Princess Diana hit town yesterday, and in fact, she is the guest of honor at a charity gala going on at this very moment, which, other than the Bulls, is the talk of Chicago. And as those British tabloids have been quick to point out, this continues a curious pattern of Her Highness and Marv Albert turning up in the same city at the same time. A shocking rumor further fueled by tonight's events. Coincidence? You be the judge. Marvelous?
Yes, Bob, certainly capturing the flavor of the playoff excitement here in Chicago. But we are joined by broadcasting royalty. Matt Guokas, one-time head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers and the Orlando Magic. Bill Walton, Hall of Famer by way of UCLA, Portland, and Boston. On a night that Michael Jordan and the Bulls are hoping that this will be the very first step in putting the finishing touches on their record-breaking, remarkable season.
I think we all want to be on the positive side of history. I think so far we've been that, with 72 wins, all the consecutive winnings of games that we've won. But by no means do we want to do all that and then be the team that lose to the Seattle Supersonics in the finals. I'm pretty sure that'll be marked in history too. So that's one side of history we certainly don't want to be a part of. And I think that's part of the motivation for a lot of the guys, especially myself, to try to get this thing done.
And Matt, part of the motivation for Michael is just to add to that legend.
And Marv, he has come all the way back to best player and MVP status, and what a history in the NBA Finals. Turning back 3 future Hall of Famers. It was Magic Johnson and the Los Angeles Lakers in '91. Then Clyde Drexler and the Portland Trail Blazers for their 2nd straight championship in '92. And then the three-peat against 1993's most valuable player, Charles Barkley, and the Phoenix Suns. Michael Jordan knows this drill very well, going for his 4th NBA title.
And guys, for the Seattle Sonics, it is not just getting to the NBA Finals. They feel that they can beat the Bulls, and they're upset by those who give them little chance in this series.
I think you get mad. I think you get upset. And everyone's saying it's going to be a sweep. And everyone's saying it's going to be 4-1. In that case, why the heck are we even here? Why even show up if everybody's going to think we're going to get swept? I mean, we could have been happy in the Western Conference Finals. But, we think we're just as talented as Chicago is.
I think the pressure's on them. They got to come out. They say they're going to sweep us. Now they got to come out and try to play to that level. And I think that we're really relaxed right now, and we just come out and play.
Seattle relishes the role of the underdog. Now they're back to where they were against the 2-time defending champion Houston Rockets, which they swept in an earlier round. 2 of their key players that have got to come through in this series. Gary Payton, the Defensive Player of the Year, who stripped Michael Jordan in the decisive game between these 2 teams in Seattle earlier this year. Gary Payton responsible for the collective psyche of these 2 teams. And then, of course, Shawn Kemp, who has literally matured before our eyes the last 6 weeks. He'll be matched up against Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman with a new, interesting, and certainly colorful hairstyle today. Rodman will try to get into Shawn Kemp's psyche throughout this game. Shawn Kemp's responsibility is to play above that fray. Now, Seattle a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious. It's their first time here, but they're here to win. And, Marv, they are not interested in being the lunch meat for the Chicago Bulls championship celebration.
All right, Bill, and we are moments away. Coming up, it's Game 1, the Sonics and the Bulls, the NBA Finals Series, in a moment.
Talented Lifeforms, Third Rock on The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite. With a great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. By Chrysler, leaders in innovative design and engineering. And by Castrol GTX, the most protection against volatility burn-off.
Welcome back to the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. And if you go by the numbers, a positive stat for fans of the Seattle Sonics. And now we're set for the introduction of the starting lineups. Here is the public address voice for the Chicago Bulls, Ray Clay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Chicago Bulls welcome the world's greatest fans to the United Center. Tonight's Game 1 of the NBA Finals is between the Seattle Supersonics and your Chicago Bulls. Now let's meet tonight's lineups. First for the visiting Seattle Supersonics. At one forward from Washington, 6'10", Detlef Schrempf. Trinity Valley Community College, Sean Kemp. At center, 6'11", out of New Orleans, Urban Johnson. A 6'4" guard out of Oregon State, Gary Payton. And the guard from Bradley, 6'3", Percy Hawkins. The Seattle Supersonics are coached by George Karl.
To the Bulls' fourth NBA final appearance the past 6 years. Ahmad Rashad and Hannah Storm have worked the sidelines during the course of those 6 seasons, and they're with us tonight. Let's start with the dean, Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Mark. Phil Jackson has a way of firing up his team during the course of the season, and this past week he shows them movies. The movie he showed them was The King of Hearts, a 1966 French-Italian production, a movie about war, duress, and the insane world we live in. A story of a Scottish soldier in World War I who comes across a town populated by asylum escapees who look to crown him their king. Now, I talked to Michael Jordan about that. I said, what message was Phil sending? He said, well, the only message I can figure he was sending is that Phil has had way too much time between playoff games. So I guess they're prepared. So for the Seattle side of it, let's go down to Hannah.
Ahmad, much of the hype in this series has been about Defensive Player of the Year, Gary Payton guarding Michael Jordan. That is not what we're going to see early. Here's what the Sonics experimented with yesterday during practice. They're going to start Gary Payton on Scottie Pippen. That's to help keep Payton out of foul trouble early and help keep the Bulls from advancing the ball. When Payton handles it, when Pippen handles it, he's going to try to slow him down. That leaves an interesting mismatch in the backcourt. We've got 6'10" Detlef Schrempf, who will actually actually start the game on Michael Jordan. He has a height advantage over Jordan. He's going to need a lot of help. That is going to come from Hersey Hawkins, who's going to double off Ron Harper. That's what they've experimented with. We'll see how they execute it early. Marv?
All right, Hannah, the officials, Joe Crawford, Dan Crawford, Bennett Salvatore. Guys, how long do you think the matchup of Schrempf and Jordan will last?
In the half-court game, that can be effective because Schrempf has got so much size. He's 6'10". The question is, can he stay with Michael off the dribble? But nobody else can either. Seattle at this point is just experimenting.
Urban Johnson. Luke Longley on the opening tip, and it's controlled by the Bulls. Pippen going right at Payton. It's the matchup that Hannah referred to. Now they double up on Jordan. Harper is open for three. Yes.
Well, right away, you see the strategy. They will come and double team Michael with Hersey Hawkins, just trying to get the ball out of his hands, and they're willing to let Ron Harper take that shot.
On Gary Payton being played by Ron Harper. Sean Kemp with the room.
And that's no surprise there. Luke Longley will try to match up with Sean Kemp as much as possible to absorb some of the contact to try to keep Dennis Rodman out of early foul trouble.
Luke Longley. And back come the Sonics. It's the Bulls 3 and the Sonics 2. We are just underway. Kemp getting position, although he faces the double team. Payton for three. And Schrempf able to run it down.
The key for Seattle, as always, is offense. Cut down on turnovers, get to the hoop and finish. Post up your forwards and attack the basket to set up your three-point game.
For the Chicago Bulls, it has been a long layoff, a spread of 8 days. Talking to Bulls players, they say they were just sick and tired of facing each other during practice sessions. Schrempf picks up that first foul.
Marvin, the first finals that I ever played in, we had an extremely long layoff 20 years ago when we played Philadelphia with Dr. J. We had swept the Lakers in the in the finals of the West and then waited for Philadelphia to get ready. It hurt us terribly the first 2 games. We got blown out.
And Jordan's first attempt went astray. The Bulls have not played since they eliminated Orlando on May the 27th. That was Monday, Memorial Day. And Kemp fires from deep. So Sean Kemp, who comes off the spectacular 7th and final game against Utah, is able to hit on his first 2 shots. The Sonics with a 4-3 lead. Jordan played by Kemp on the switch.
Terrific closeout by Sean Kemp.
Rodman has been more offensive-minded in the playoffs.
Well, so far, the quick, active defense of Seattle has the Bulls confused.
And Pippen lets it go with the Seattle possession.
Sean Kemp has this kind of range. It's not unusual for him to be able to drill this shot. The nice thing about it is he's attacking directly. There's no hesitation, no reluctance to put it up quickly. Size advantage for Pippen.
And Pippen shoots the 3. Air ball handled by Schrempf. For Seattle, it is their first trip to the NBA Finals since they won the championship back in 1979. Here's Pippen for Harper. He beat Pippen and drew the foul.
This is what the Chicago Bulls do best from their defense. Whether it be a steal, whether it be a block shot or a rebound. This one started on the Luke Longley block. As in nobody really stopping Schrempf or putting any pressure, and a nice move by Hawkins without the ball. And Michael Jordan running the middle of the floor that time, and that's who Scottie Pippen was looking to. And that drew Gary Payton in the middle and left that open lane for Ron Harper.
It looked like Gary Payton was trying to let him go, but the momentum of his body down low, Gary Payton can't waste any fouls.
They call him the Glove. Selected as the NBA's best defensive player this past regular season, although here in Chicago there was certainly much support for Scottie Pippen.
That's the only award that the Bulls didn't win. I thought Scottie should have won that award.
And Kemp has been unstoppable here in the early moments. 3 for 3 from the field.
Well, he's already hit those 2 outside outside jumpers, and then if he gets positioned like that in the paint, nobody will stop him.
Air ball hook shot, and the Bulls only one for their first 6. Johnson. Eldon Johnson getting down court, beating the Bulls, and the Sonics now lead 8-5.
Marv, terrific start for Seattle. Remember game 1 of the Orlando series, Chicago out 10-0 in the first game. Orlando never able to catch up the rest of the series.
Game of the season. In the game that Chicago lost to Seattle, he had game high of 21. In fact, a career high for Luke Longley. Was looking to take advantage of the Sonics, who do not have a dominating center.
This is the first series in a long time that Luke Longley can say, hey, I'm the best one of everybody out here. He's been going against Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing, Shaq. Now he comes up against a little-used Eldon Johnson and some guys who really play a lot in the perimeter. Longley should be able to capitalize.
Payton coming up short, but it's Kemp giving it back. And Kemp again is on the ball and is called for a charge. Offensive foul.
Well, offensive rebounding has been the strength of the Chicago Bulls all season long, mainly on the shoulders of Dennis Rodman. But so far, it's been the Seattle Supersonics getting the extra shot opportunities. And talk about a guy getting into foul problems. That is Sean Kemp, and George Karl does not want to see him pick up those cheap fouls early in the ballgame.
Jordan. So Michael has missed his first 2. The game is tied at 8. Here is Schrempf. And Rodman off the board.
The Sonics doing what they want to do in transition, getting out, putting the pressure on Chicago's defense to scurry back. The Bulls not used to that.
Longley. And a loose ball foul called against Chicago. It is on Rodman, who is sporting a new look.
They got an aid symbol, a peace symbol, and a Pearl Jam symbol on that haircut for Dennis Rodman.
And that is the first technical called on Dennis with the new look.
Well, Dennis obviously not happy with that call. He felt he had inside position underneath the backboard, and when that whistle blew, he looked like the most confused guy in the world and took a long look at the trail official, Joe Crawford, as Rodman pushing and shoving on the back of Sean Kemp, which Dennis does quite a bit. He felt he would have to push a lot harder than that to get a foul this early.
So it's the Sonics with a 9-8 lead. Gary Payton has missed his first 4 shots. Being played by Ron Hoffer, who has been just superb defensively throughout the playoffs. Now Kemp putting the move on. Rejected by Longley.
Detlef Schrempf's post-entry passes are too slow. Got to pass sharper than that.
Longley, very active here at the start. That's his second bucket, and it's the Bulls by 1. 5 minutes gone by in this first quarter. Schrempf played by Pippen. And the matchup is Jordan guarding Hawkins. Schrempf with the screen. Schrempf checking the clock. Illegal defense called for the first time against the Bulls. And a timeout is being indicated with 6:32 remaining. In this opening quarter, it's the Bulls with a 10-9 lead.
Well, Luke Longley has been very active. Both ends of the floor looked like he was clearly beaten by Sean Kemp, but recovering to get his second block and then running the floor beautifully to finish off on the fast break.
Well, for the Bulls, it has been a magical season, a record-breaking 72 up, 10 down, but they feel to a man that it will not mean a thing unless they go all the way and win the title. We talked about this with Michael Jordan earlier and asked what's the greatest fear in going into this series against the Sonics.
My greatest fear is to take this team for granted and listen to a lot of the media expectations and speculations. I think we know that Seattle can play the game of basketball. No matter how much they may put us above, Seattle, I think we have to be very, very cautious that this team could come out. All they need to do is win one game here, and next thing you know, we got to play 3 games in Seattle where they're stronger. So I think that's a danger. That's one of my, I guess, nervousness about this game and about being at home. It's added pressure.
Yes, several of Michael's teammates talked about the added pressure as Jordan comes up with the block on Hawkins.
Again, the size of the Bulls guard, something that the Sonics haven't had to face in their earlier rounds.
And Jordan draws the foul. Foul committed by Hawkins.
It's not only the size of the Bulls guards, it's also the lack of execution by the Seattle Supersonics. If they have one weak spot, it is in that half-court execution. Slow developing play. Percy forced to force that shot.
Longley, very active here at the start. Usually when Longley gets to it offensively, it is in the first quarter, but there's no question here it is part of the game plan against Irvin Johnson.
And Marv, Ahmad was telling us that he talked to Longley at the break, and Longley said that long layoff really helped those sore, aching knees.
And the foul is called on Luke Longley. Sean Kemp will go to the line. It's the second team foul committed by Chicago. Seattle has 4.
Well, Irvin Johnson's job is to protect the lane against other players, and he is getting drawn away from the basket. Luke Longley making the fundamental move. Cut to the open area. His teammates are finding him.
When was that time you saw Luke Longley come show you the ball, tuck it down? He's been watching his teammates. He's learned a lot from playing with Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan.
Irvin Johnson, 3-year man from New Orleans, now going to the bench. Replaced by Sam Perkins. This has been the pattern. Johnson will start. He started 60 games during the regular season, but Perkins will get most of the minutes.
And Mark, Phil Jackson Field, he told me before the game that he thinks that the Sam Perkins-Tony Kukoc matchup is going to determine this series. Which one can lead their bench to the greatest performance?
Well, Michael Jordan with his first field goal. And the Bulls now lead 14-10.
And right now, Dennis Rodman will match up against Sam Perkins, who will try to keep Rodman as far away from the basket as possible.
The steal by Pippen.
Terrible pass by Payton. You got to move your feet and step through. That's a bad matchup with Rodman on Perkins for Chicago.
Pippen for 3. Scottie Pippen earlier in the playoffs having his problems from downtown that seemed to straighten things out in that 4th game against Orlando. Meanwhile, the Sonics have missed their last 5 shots. The Bulls are up 17-10.
Harper's really slowing down Gary Payton on the advance of the ball.
Open shot for Perkins from 3. Sam Perkins deadly from 3-point range.
Well, you mentioned it, Bill. Dennis Rodman left to go help out Luke Longley. You can't do that when you're watching Perkins, and Dennis dropped his head right away. He knew that Perkins had that long look at an easy 3 for him.
Jordan, yes. Michael Jordan missed his first 2. He's hit his last 2, and the Bulls are up by 6.
Marv, Detlefsham doesn't have the foot speed or quickness to jam Jordan on the perimeter. Beautiful entry pass. Dunk that ball. Finish.
Three minutes, 45 seconds to go in this first quarter. It's game 1 of the NBA Finals. The Sonics and the Bulls. Longley on the rebound and draws the foul. Now committed by Neville Trent. That is his second. And George Karl looking down the bench and pointing at Vincent Askew. Nate McMillan also getting set to check in. Nate, a question mark because of the back problem. In fact, I'm told took a shot of cortisone in the back the second time he has done so, and he's going to give it a shot here. He said if he does not feel well, he'll take a couple of games off. And here comes Nate McMillan, co-captain of the Sonics, so important to this team. This is the scene moments ago back in the Seattle locker room. He was on the treadmill, also did some stretching, looking to get ready.
Marv, talking to Nate and knowing him throughout his long and really terrific career, there's something really wrong with that back. If it's not getting better with all the expert treatment he's been getting, There's something seriously wrong there. He needs a lot more time than just a day or two's rest.
Now Jordan going against Payton. Goes to the fadeaway. Oh, he wanted that shot. He wanted Gary Payton.
As soon as he had a one-on-one, he waved everybody out of there, and he wanted to go. And not a bad job by Gary Payton. He forced Michael out just a little bit further than he likes to be on that fadeaway jump shot. But Michael's eyes lit up when he saw Payton there. He wanted a piece.
So Jordan, after the slow start, has hit his last three, and the Bulls lead by 9. Welcome back to Chicago. Marv Albert, Matt Dukas, Bill Walton, Ahmad Rashad, Hannah Storm. 3:18 remaining in this opening quarter, and the Bulls with a 17-5 run the last 5 minutes, now lead at 22-13. And you can see Chicago's balanced scoring led by Luke Longley.
Well, Phil Jackson's biggest concern with the 9-day layoff was conditioning, and the Bulls did look a little sluggish coming out, but it certainly has not hurt their early shooting. As a team, 8 for 16 from the field.
Seattle's defense is fine. That's their constant. Their offense is struggling. They've only got 13 points. They've got to finish stronger at the hoop.
Steve Kerr has come on for the first time for the Bulls. Here's Perkins to the fadeaway, and rebounded by Pippen.
When you're behind early, you can't start thinking about shooting fadeaways. You got to turn, get to the hoop, get to the foul line.
Open shot for Pippen for three. And Payton able to race it down. Nate McMillan met by Steve Kerr, and a reach-in called on Luke Longley. For Longley, his second.
Well, the Sonics do such a terrific job of running the floor. We saw it at the beginning of the game. Even Irvin Johnson, not really an offensive threat, but he runs, he sprints, which makes the defense work extra hard. And Sean Kemp, one of the best in the business at the big forward position at running the floor, and that time making Luke Longley work even harder.
But even though Luke Longley's got 3 fouls and now on the bench for Tony Kukoc, this is when the Bulls get even better by going small. Just 2 fouls for Luke Longley, excuse me.
And here's Askew with his first shot attempt. So Askew from downtown. Vincent Askew in his 7th NBA season out of Memphis State. Not noted for his shooting. Excellent complementary type player. Very tough defensively. Tony Kukoc has come on for the first time for Chicago. It's the Bulls by 6 as we come up on 2 minutes to go in this first quarter. Kukoc checking the shot clock. And Kerr fires from way downtown.
2 minutes to play the first quarter.
Last touched by Jordan. That was even out of Steve Kerr's normal range.
Had to put it up, forced on the shot clock. Now, Steve Kerr, Bill Jackson, very concerned as to where he can find time. He thinks he can get it against McMillan, who doesn't have much quickness.
Nice move by Perkins, but could not convert.
Well, you know Perkins can shoot from the perimeter. He's got a post game as well, but you don't normally see him put it on the floor and get to the hoop that easily.
3 on 2, but the Bulls got back. Minute and a half left. First quarter, here's Kemp. Sean Kemp on fire, 4 of 6 here in the first quarter, and he has 9 points. So a 4-point advantage for Chicago. And off the boards, they are now even. Rodman leading the way with 6. Missing the 3, and back comes Kemp. And Kemp looked to go all the way, but stripped by Jordan. Rebound, Kukoc. Kukoc twisting his way in midair, and it's the Bulls with a 6-point lead.
Turnovers for Seattle. Chicago is terrific at turning those turnovers into points. They utilized everything that time, including the offensive glass.
Rodman tried to front Kemp and did break it up. Rodman fortunate to get a piece of the ball. So Kemp turned it over for the second time. Pippen on the offensive glass. Kerr passed on the 3 and then blocked by Kemp. Here comes Payton, but Rodman is back. 20 seconds to go in the quarter. And now George Karl says reset.
Seattle's big men are not running the floor. They're the ones that appear to be the more fatigued team.
Final seconds of the quarter. Payton on the pull-up. Rebound Kemp. That is the end of the first quarter. The Bulls, after a slow start, able to regroup. And after one, they lead by 6. Kemp with 9. Jordan, 3 of 6 from the field. So Michael with 6 points. We'll be back here at the United Center in a moment.
On NBC, the 1996 NBA Finals.
Well, in the first quarter, the matchup has been Dennis Rodman going against Shawn Kemp right throughout. We asked Shawn, can Rodman defend you one-on-one?
I don't think anybody really can defend an NBA player offensively one-on-one. I think what Dennis does is plays great position defense. And, you know, I've watched him a little bit this playoffs, and he's frustrated a lot of players, and we're getting under their skin. So I think the thing you have to tell yourself is that, you know, Dennis is going to be Dennis. That's his game. That is his game to frustrate people. So, you know, I have to be the man that just walk off and run down court and kind of let some things slide here. You know, I have a mission. I'm on a mission and see something that's at the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel. So I can't let a little scratch or a claw, his pulling on the jerseys or anything like that, you know, throw me out my game because, you know, this time of the season, you can't go through that.
And Shawn Kemp had an excellent first quarter, 9 points, hitting 4 of 6 from the field. 3-point shot went astray, and the tip is put home. So the Bulls now lead 24-20. Sam Perkins getting a piece of it.
Gary Payton off to a very slow start offensively. 0 for 6 from the field, 0 points. I'd post up Shawn Kemp against Dennis Rodman. Take Dennis inside, punish him.
And here is Kukoc. Tony just beating the 24, and the Bulls now lead by 6. It's been a difficult time emotionally for Gary Payton dealing with his sister's suicide attempt. Shawn Kemp now with 11 points, although we can certainly understand him being affected as he was. He admitted that he was having problems in Game 6 against Utah.
Marv, I talked to Gary just this morning. He said all that's behind him. Everything is fine. The family is together and safe. Gary said if it was a more serious problem, he would not be here.
Minute and a half gone by in the second quarter. Bulls with the ball, and they lead by 4. Foul against the Bulls. Offensive foul. So the Sonics get it back. Now they say 3-second violation.
Well, the Bulls are doing their work on the offensive boards, getting second chance opportunities. Already 5 offensive rebounds, but really not taking advantage of it, not converting them into baskets. But yet, this is going to be a big factor throughout this series, how well the Sonics do in the rebounding department with Chicago.
For the Bulls, their first turnover on that 3-second call. Nice move by Payton. And for Gary Payton, it is his first field goal. It brings the Sonics within 2.
Phil Jackson just looked down the bench at his assistant coaches. He said, that's why I put Randy Brown in there to stop that.
Pippen got inside and then able to hit on the follow.
With this lineup, Gary Payton should not be playing against Scottie Pippen. They're short guards for Chicago. Askew and Payton can take advantage there.
A steal as Kukoc was able to knock it away. Michael Jordan getting a rest here at the start of the second quarter. Brown and Kerr in the backcourt. Kukoc, Rodman and Pippen up front. Kukoc a bit too strong. And back comes Nate McMillan.
Nice box out Askew on Rodman.
Perkins, yes, and it counts. A beautiful move going right at Dennis Rodman. for Rodman, his second foul. And the Bulls now lead by 2.
Sam Perkins can score from three-point land, can score in the post. When you go right at Dennis Rodman, it doesn't give him a chance to be first-team All-NBA defense. Bill.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Budweiser, official sponsor of the 1996 Olympic Summer Games. This Bud's for you. By Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. And by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered.
Well, the Lovables with a snappy number inspired by Dennis Rodman's persona. Catchy tune, too. And there is Dennis sitting down after collecting his second foul. 7 rebounds to lead the way. Sean Kemp is the high man of the game with 11 points. Sam Perkins with 7 points in his 8 minutes of playing time.
Remember in the Houston series when Coach Rudy Tomjanovich said that Sam Perkins is an impossible matchup. If you put a big man on him, he takes him outside, draws him away from the basket. You put a smaller man on him, he can punish you inside. And when he used that impossible matchup phrase, all Sam's teammates have been kidding him ever since. Here's a guy averages 12 points a game, impossible matchup. And Sam has that low-key demeanor, but has really developed into a very strong locker room leader for this team.
He'll need to play huge minutes in this series. Remember, Sam, a long-time veteran, the only member of this Seattle team with championship experience from the '91 finals Lakers when Sam was playing with Magic Johnson.
And a college teammate of Michael Jordan at North Carolina. Seattle in the midst of a 14-6 run since the Bulls led by 9. That over the last 6.5 minutes. And the Bulls lead now is 1. Jordan is back on the floor, as is Harper. Judd Bushler has come on for the first time for Chicago.
George Karl could not have drawn it up any better, Marv. That time, get it out of Jordan's hand, make Bushler and Harper play with it on the weak side.
And it is Bushler trying to defend on Perkins, and the foul is called.
And when all that double teaming is going on, it really puts your defense in jeopardy on second shots. But so far, we've seen Vincent Askew do a terrific job boxing people out, getting a body on people, and then even if he doesn't get the rebound, one of his teammates does.
3.5 gone by, second quarter. And Chicago on 28-27. Here's Askew. And he's fouled by Bushler, a hacking call. So Bushler with a quick 2, and Askew will head to the line.
Marv, Seattle has completely turned it around on the offensive end. They were down 22-13. Now they have a chance to take the lead here. Chicago struggled when Jordan was out. Pippen could not carry the load. Payton has stayed in the whole way and settled down his offensive team.
And you look at the Chicago lineup right now. Of course, Michael Jordan is back in there with Tony Kukoc. They're going to have to carry much of the offensive load right now. And as you mentioned, well, you can afford to double team right now. Other than Bill Wennington, nobody really a sharp perimeter shooter.
And Scottie Pippen only 2 of 7 from the field. The Bulls have hit just 3 of the last 14, and you can sense the impatience of this capacity crowd here at the United Center. The poor shooting continues by Chicago. Perkins with the good look and hits again. A 3 for Sam Perkins. He now has 11 points, and he has led the Sonics to a 4-point lead.
Big men who can run the floor, shoot the ball from the perimeter in transition. Very difficult to stop for this current Bull lineup.
Askew called for the holding foul as Jordan looked to make his move.
In transition, Gary Payton will find Sam Perkins. Looked like Sam had to shuffle his feet to get his balance there, but he's feeling the rhythm so well. Just put it up there every time.
Well, Phil Jackson not pleased, as you might expect, and he's taken a timeout. 7:43 to go in the first half. Seattle 5-4. We'll be right back.
Take a look back at the year that was. Watch NBA Special at the Finals, Sunday on NBC.
Welcome back to Chicago. Seattle in the midst of a 19-6 run to take a 4-point lead. Let's check in with Hannah Storm. Hannah?
In the Seattle huddle, Marv, George Karl telling his team he wants to continue to see a crowd around Michael Jordan because he said Jordan is not looking to pass. He's looking to win this thing on his own. They're down by 4, Marv.
And as you say that, Michael unleashes from 3-point range.
Well, in the last series in the conference final against Orlando, every time Phil Jackson called on Bushler, Steve Kerr, Bill Wennington, Randy Brown, they produced in short minutes. So far, they have not gotten it. Phil has gone back to his starters.
And it was way back in Game 4 on May the 27th against Orlando that Jordan was able to hit the 45 points to lead the Bulls over the Magic.
But Mark, this is a shot out of the triangle offense, which Phil Jackson tells us he wants Michael to stay in because it makes it so much more difficult for George Karl's trapping defense to be effective if he's in the offense as opposed to just the isolation plays.
Bulls foul called on Harper. Gary Payton. He missed his first 6. He's hit his last 2, and the Sonics now lead by 3 points. Just under 7 minutes to go in this first half. Luke Longley. And the rebound gathered in by Gary Payton. Payton and Hawkins in the backcourt. Schrempf, Kemp, Askew on the front line, and it's an offensive foul. Rodman hit the deck, and it's called on Schrempf. So for Detlef, that is number 3.
Not a good performance to open up this series by Detlef Schrempf. He has not scored yet. An obvious offensive foul. He's not moving his feet enough. He's not trying to go around guys. He's not quick to the glass, and certainly not getting the job done defensively on Jordan.
Otherwise, a fine day for Detlef. All right, here's Longley. 10 points for Longley.
It looks like Luke picked up something from Shaquille in that last series. He dipped that left shoulder and just wiped the defender out of there.
Sonics by 1 as we come up on 6 minutes to go. First half, they double up on Perkins.
Seattle has to move more when that ball goes into the post on the perimeter.
3-point attempt by Hawkins. And the ball will go back to Chicago.
Well, Seattle has a real bad tendency as the ball is temporarily stuck. We'll have to get Jordan to see if he can get that off the top of the glass there. I know Wilt would walk out and say, I can get that one.
I go to the old schoolyard, throw another basketball at it, and Scottie Pippen has the right idea. And that appreciated by the official, Danny Crawford.
Wilt not in attendance tonight, but certainly Bill Russell is.
One of the all-time greats and the former general manager and coach of the Seattle Supersonics, Bill Russell on hand. Harper. 7 points for Harper. And the Bulls take a 1-point lead.
Luke Longley is the Chicago Bulls offense.
Yes, Longley with 10.
And the nice assist to Harper that time.
Yes. Sean Kemp with 13 points. He's had the touch. 6 of 8 from the field, and the Sonics by 1. Jordan and Harper at the guards. Pippen, Longley, and Rodman up front. Jordan for 3. He hesitated. He was not going to take that shot.
Seattle has so many players, Marv, who can play big against Jordan physically. Askew, Hawkins, Payton, and of course McMillan, if he's healthy enough.
Pippen on the glass. Rebound stuffed by Harper.
Well, until that follow-up by Ron Harper, Vincent Askew in particular has been doing an outstanding job of getting his body on Chicago shirts and keeping them off the glass, but that time nobody found Ron Harper. They're not concerned about what Ron Harper's doing at the offensive end.
And Ron Harper has been doing it. 9 points for Hawkins. Nice move off the dribble by Hersey Hawkins for his first field goal. The Sonics 38 and the Bulls 37. Pippen changed his mind.
Hawkins needs that sort of response. He cannot let Chicago come at him at one end and then just passively play on the offensive end.
Hersey will bounce back in Game 7 against Utah after the 0 for 8 and a tough time against Jeff Hornacek in Game 6. To the fadeaway. And here comes Payton in the open floor. Going right at Harper. And a foul call. It's a block. You can hear the reaction from the crowd. Joe Crawford with the quick call on that blocking foul.
Well, Gary Payton loves to push the basketball, and generally his team is running lanes with him. This time he looked around, he didn't see any friends of his, decided he was going to try to create something out of nothing. I think got bailed out on the call somewhat here as he just threw that shoulder into Ron Harper.
Ron Harper not in good defensive position. Looked like he was just trying to take a charge, and oftentimes the referees, when they see a player bailing out and just trying to take advantage of a tough roll. Horrible pass by Sam Perkins.
Perkins surprising Kemp. Pippen draws the foul.
Marv, Seattle has not been feeding the ball to Sean Kemp well. There's been tough passes up around his head area, down around his feet. Get him the ball in his triple threat position. Give him some space. Let him get moving out there. Help your teammates out.
And that is contributed to the turnover total by Kemp. Seattle with 8 turnovers in this first half. Chicago with just 1. Sonics with a 1-point lead. It's game 1 of the NBA Finals Series. Game 2 here in Chicago on Friday night. And on NBC starting at 9 o'clock Eastern time. And then the scene will shift to the Key Arena in Seattle. Game 3 Sunday night starting at 7:30 Eastern time. Game is tied at 39. Askew firing the 3. Rodman lost it and then recovered and calls the timeout. 20-second timeout requested by the Bulls. Well, looking back at the regular season, the Bulls and the Sonics met on 2 occasions. Back in November at Seattle, the Bulls were able to jump out to a 13-point halftime lead. In fact, the Bulls built an 18-point lead before Sean Kemp and Gary Payton led the Sonics back to combining for 51 points in a 97-92 Seattle victory. They met again in January here in Chicago, and it was the Bulls led by Michael Jordan, 35 points and 14 rebounds, 29 from Scottie Pippen, as the Bulls dealt the Sonics their worst loss of the regular season, 113-87. The Bulls shot 60% from the field in the game, while the Sonics only 36%. What is vivid in the mind, though, of Michael Jordan in that loss to Seattle, in a critical situation, he was stripped down the stretch by Gary Payton.
Gary Payton just took it right away from him. Jordan going for the game winner. And how about the fact that Scottie Pippen missed 6 straight free throws in the last 2 minutes in the game at Seattle.
3 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in this first half. Seattle has done it off bench. 16-4. Sparked by Perkins. And Longley. He'll head to the line. Luke Longley to this point has outscored Michael Jordan. He'll be looking for points 11 and 12. Substitution for Seattle, the veteran Frank Brakowski in his 12th NBA season out of Penn State, a bruising type player who could touch a nerve with Dennis Rodman has checked in for the first time.
Well, Frank, being a wise old veteran, knows all the tricks, knows how to use those forearms and elbows and the strong lower body around the basket. And I'm sure we'll get tangled up with Dennis Rodman at some point, if not today, some other one.
I think it'd be a good idea because Rodman's already got the 1 technical. Try to get another one. Try to get him ejected. Use some of Rodman's own antics against himself.
Bill with that National Hockey League mentality. The Bulls 41-39 over the Sonics. And some pressure being shown by Chicago.
Seattle has to attack this press. You can't just let them come up and make you take so much time off the shot clock.
Here's the double on Kemp, and a traveling violation is called. Another Seattle turnover. It is their 9th. Timeout taken. 2:56 to go in the first half.
The This is Bruce.
Reminder coming up on the Prudential halftime report. Bob Costas will be talking live with the Phoenix Suns' Charles Barkley. Charles, of course, played in the finals against Michael Jordan and the Bulls back in 1993, a series won by Chicago in 6. And Charles's name has been mentioned of late in trade talks. Good friend Danny Ainge will eventually coach the Phoenix Suns. That a recent development. We'll get his reaction to that coming up at halftime. Bob Costas, Julius Erving on the Prudential halftime report.
Seattle doing an outstanding job on the glass. Vincent Askew and Sam Perkins have made major contributions off the bench.
Trying to flip it up with the running hook. Bulls with a 41-39 lead. 2.5 remaining in this first half. Brykowski hits on the 3 and then heaves it back the other way at an ocean to a drive lane. Hawkins able to knock it down. Hersey Hawkins has tied the game at 41.
That rebounding stat is a big one and will be throughout this series, but so far the Sonics with their big problem with turnovers, 9 to Chicago's 1.
Well, Michael Jordan took the hit. Frank Brykowski looking to brace the fall of Jordan, who wanted no part of it.
Well, they ran the backdoor play for Jordan. Jordan got away with the push-off on Hawkins. I'm surprised Hawkins didn't complain a little bit more on that push-off and get Jordan open. But that's really Jordan's initial opportunity inside tonight. Seattle has done a very good job of keeping him on the perimeter, and with Gary Payton able to jam up with Vincent Askew as well, forcing Jordan to stay in the perimeter. That could work well for Seattle.
And we get the whistle, a pushing foul on Luke Longley. That is his 3rd. Bulls are now over the foul limit.
So careless here. First of all, Sean Kemp just a little bit late there in stepping in. You got to step up the lane. Luke Longley taking advantage. You never want to pick up a foul like that when you already have 2 when you're down in the closing minutes of the half.
So Sean Kemp to the line. He's 2 of 2 from the line. Kemp hitting the huge free throws in game number 7. Here comes John Sally replacing Luke Longley. 12 points for Longley. His playoff career high is 14. So the Sonics now lead by 1. Sean Kemp, game 7 against Utah, 10 of 11 at the free throw line. Sonics by 1 with just under 2 minutes to go in the first half. Here's the double team on Jordan, who's able to beat it, and that is fouled. Oh, Rodman and Brykowski had words. Oh, you can see it coming.
And as you mentioned before, Mark and Bill, Dennis Rodman has to be very careful already with that first technical foul. Any kind of talking or 2 players getting together like that, and he will get whistled for that second and be tossed.
It's absurd that Dennis Rodman can walk around acting like, look what they're doing to me. They're hitting me. They're pushing me. Dennis Rodman initiates all that stuff. Rodman inside there, just keeps walking right into Brykowski. Elbows, arms all tied up. Innocent victim, Dennis.
Michael Jordan, 2 of 3 at the line, and now has 12 points. It's the Bulls by 1. Light pressure this time by Chicago, handled by Seattle. And that is turnover number 5 for Sean Kemp.
Well, Sean led the league during the regular season, averaging 4 a game and 4 throughout the playoffs so far, already over his average in just the first half.
And that's 10 in all for Seattle. Chicago with just 1.
Sean Kemp's not moving around the defenders. He's just trying to go through them or over them. That won't work.
And Joe Crawford says, stay right here, and Dennis Rodman could be losing it. Now he's applauding the call. Rodman was about to get involved and then walked away.
Joe Crawford is going to call a flagrant foul here on Frank Brickowski.
So Dennis Rodman, who has had his ups and downs at the line, is able to hit the first for his first point of the night.
Brickowski looking to box out, looking to keep Rodman off, but just moved over with the forearm, with the elbow to the upper midsection. Very dangerous play, uncalled for.
And now Judd Bushler replaces Dennis Rodman. The conversation continues. And a technical has been called on Brickowski. Apparently Joe Crawford feels that the intent of Brickowski was to instigate something against Rodman. Brickowski now walking in the direction of a couple of Bulls, and he's joined by a security man and is ushered back to the locker room.
And he got a couple of parting shots to referee Joe Crawford, and then one final parting shot to, I'm sure, Jack Haley sitting on the bench.
An absolutely uncalled for situation by Brickowski, who's a good, skilled basketball player who sometimes gets too caught up in the physical aspect of the game. But he gets a flagrant foul and then two technicals. We're going to just see a parade to the line for Chicago. And Seattle worked so hard to get back in this game offensively. Now Chicago with a chance to open it up a bit here.
But as you said earlier, Bill, I don't think there's any question that Brickowski was trying to get that second technical called on Dennis Rodman. There's no argument. Of course, George Karl can't be happy with this, but he did not put up any fire regarding that call. This foul on Wingate, who just checked in. David Wingate, who may see more action. Actually, he'd have to see more than he did against Utah. Played a total of 7 minutes in that Utah series, but the feeling is that we might see more of Wingate, perhaps defending against Jordan.
That's just another weapon. Give him as many looks as possible. But why would Brickowski, after he gets a flagrant foul, why would he even say anything? Just walk away and start the next play.
Free throw parade has provided a 6-point lead for the Bulls. And here's some pressure. Now the Bulls drop back, and Kemp is able to make his way down court, and then is hit on a reach-in by Sally.
Marv, Chicago would love to have Sean Kemp bring the ball up against the press every single time.
Yeah, George Karl must have his heart in his throat. Sean already with 5 turnovers and just so loose and at times careless with the basketball.
The Rain Man of the Rain Country, Sean Kemp, 4-time All-Star. At 26, he's an NBA veteran at an age when most players just getting their feet wet. He entered the NBA at 19 years of age.
And he knows where that foul line is. 4th in the league this year, and going to the free throw line, and 4th it makes.
Bulls with the ball and a 4-point lead. And Jordan is being guarded by Wingate. Jordan to the front. So Michael has opened it up. He has 18 points, and the Bulls lead by 6.
Seattle play the clock here to go 2 for 1. But Phil Jackson and the Bulls know that Seattle does not have a shot blocker.
Sally looking for the steal is called for the reach-in.
Once you get by the perimeter defense, which is terrific for Seattle, Gary Payton can't control him, can't keep him in the corner, but there's nobody up top. There's nobody coming from the weak side to knock something down.
But classic execution on that pick and roll. Jordan got a good screen from John Sally and made sure he cleared the pick and took that defender away, able with his quickness to find that little seam and get in the basket. And Michael knows that if he pulls up, he's going to get double teamed. So that's why he's playing on the perimeter right now. He's going to get more opportunities to do that. Take it to the hoop.
That looked like Luke Longley swooping to the hoop.
Yes. Bulls 51-46 over the Sonics. Kukoc for 3. And as rebounded by Hawkins. Good box out. Down to a half minute remaining in this first half. Wingate fired up and was fortunate to draw the charge on Kukoc.
Seattle's weak side rebounding has really improved. Early in the game, Chicago was getting offensive second opportunities, but Wingate in transition takes it to the hoop, and Kukoc not in proper position, again bailing out, trying to take charges. Those calls have gone against the defender all game long.
David Wingate in his 10th NBA season out of Georgetown, acquired from Charlotte as part of that Hersey Hawkins Kendall Gill trade. He's also played for Philadelphia, San Antonio, and Washington. Steve Kerr for John Sally. Sally picking up the 2 fouls.
It's really good to see 2 teams who are obviously outstanding defensive teams, the 2 best in the league, and love to run from their defense. They'll look to fast break, they'll look to push it up, look for scoring opportunities in transition.
Well, the Bulls led by as many as 9. They're up by 3. And he'll go to the line with 18 and 2/10 seconds remaining in this first half. Foul on Kemp, that is his second.
This is the second backdoor opportunity that the Bulls have gotten out of their triangle offense. The first one was Jordan. He ended up getting fouled. This time, the poor defensive footwork by Seattle, not opening up to the ball, having no idea that the pass was even coming. Chicago so outstanding in their set offense, their execution. The #1 rule when they cut you off backdoor and get to the hoop.
Well, the floor is spread for the closing of the quarter type of offense, and you rarely see give and go basketball anymore. Everything is either going to be post up or pick and roll, but with the floor spread, you can get those opportunities. Kemp fell asleep on the play.
All right, the Bulls 14 of 16 at the line in the second quarter, and here's pressure by Chicago, leading to the foul. It is on Jordan. That is his first. Got a glimpse of Bill Wennington making his first appearance of the first half. So Phil Jackson going through his litany of centers. Longley, the starter, the John Sally, and now Bill Wennington. Jackson's Bulls up by 5 with 15 seconds remaining first half. The NBA Coach of the Year, Phil Jackson, who likes to get his points in subtle fashion. He's been referring to Seattle's superb defense as a zone defense. Every time the word defense comes up, it's preceded by zone, certainly angling for some illegal defensive calls, and Seattle led the NBA in that department.
I thought he was calling it a Zen defense.
Yes, that may be. Very good, Matt, working on that for several days.
Well, Phil Jackson trying to paint a big picture of what's happening here. But when Seattle is illegal, they aren't called for it.
They have yet to be called for one in the first half. Final seconds of the half. Down to 5 seconds. Kukoc backs to three-point territory. And Bennett Salvatore comes in to make the call with 2 and 2/10 seconds to go in the half. Double foul on Wingate and Jordan.
Michael Jordan trying to get to the offensive glass, and David Wingate trying to hold him off, and the officials very quick to get in there and make this double foul call. Michael really creating havoc in there, getting the best of that matchup right there.
So they will jump it up. Urban Johnson and Scottie Pippen on the jump. And they will do it again.
Things starting to get very chippy right now. Michael Jordan senses that the Seattle Supersonics trying to get their pops in whenever they can. He's been hand fighting and battling with Askew and Wingate on this tip.
Just 2 and 2/10 seconds remaining in the first half. And that'll do it. That is waved off. So Shawn Kemp, high man for Seattle with 18. Michael Jordan with 18-12 of his 18 in the second quarter. A physical second quarter. The Bulls are up by 5. Bob Costas and the Prudential halftime report right after these messages.
This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential. Live well, make a plan, be your own rock.
Halftime of Game 1 at the United Center with the Bulls leading the Sonics 53-48. Michael Jordan, after a slow start, has 18 points. Sean Kemp, who started hot, has that same total at halftime, 18 for the Sonics. But both Scottie Pippen and Gary Payton have shot poorly. Both are 2 for 8. Hi, everybody. Bob Costas. I'll be joined by Julius Erving in our next segment, and we'll talk about this first half. But right now, we have a chance to talk with Charles Barkley. So far, this has been a very nice run in season number 12 in the NBA for Barkley. A good year for him, his best since winning the league MVP in 1993. That year, Charles took the Suns to the NBA Finals against Michael Jordan and the Bulls. They lost in 6, as you recall. A member of the original Dream Team, Barkley will be making his second appearance in the Olympics just over 6 weeks from now in Atlanta. Charles joins us now from his home just outside Phoenix. You know, Charles, it seems like we have this conversation sometime during the NBA Finals every year, and this is the first time in the last 3 that we haven't been talking to an injury-plagued Charles Barkley who was at least considering retirement. Now, as I understand it, you're thinking of another 2 or 3 years.
I don't know if I'm taking up another 2 or 3, but I'd definitely like to play at least 1 more.
Will that 1 more be in Phoenix? Because there's serious talk that, considering your age, 33, and the fact that Phoenix may want to retool their ball club and you have the highest trade value, that you could be somewhere else.
Well, more than likely, I have played my last game for the Phoenix Suns. I just don't like the fact the way things have been going. I think they've showed me no respect, and it would be hard, I mean, very hard. They're a great organization. I've enjoyed my 4 years here, but I can't honestly say I could come back to work here after they've shopped me around all summer and give 110%.
Why do you say they've shown you no respect? I could understand you're wanting to go to a different team at this stage of your career, but isn't it the Suns' prerogative to check and see what your trade value is?
No, I don't think so. I feel like I have earned a certain amount of respect, and I don't like the way they're doing it. I feel like I've given them 110% for 4 years, and I don't look at myself as a piece of meat. I think they could have came to me and said, hey, we got to retool the team, and that would be fine. But I know they've been shopping me for the last year, and it's not my fault. They're the one who traded away all my good players, and I feel bad. I feel bad for the fans of Phoenix, but I don't think I should have to pack up and move my family and at 33 and only want to play one or 2 more years, and I don't think that's right at all.
You're coming off your best season since the MVP year. You have more games played, more minutes per game, and more points per game than at any time since the 92-93 season. So obviously, at least in the short run, you would have great value to a contender. Among the teams mentioned are the Knicks, the Pacers, the Rockets. Assuming that's valid, would you have a preference among those 3?
Well, if I got an opportunity to play with, if I play again, it's going to have to be an ideal scenario. I'm going to have to be with some really good players, guys who really want to win the championship, and that would be the best for me. I don't want to rebuild. I don't want to play on a mediocre team. There's only like 5 or 6 really good teams in the NBA, and if I could play for the championship, that's the only goal I have left to accomplish. I wish it could be here in Phoenix, but they've just done a bad job with our team, and I feel bad because these people here deserve a championship. But one of those 3 teams, New York or Houston, Indiana, would be ideal. But it'd have to be perfect.
In a sense, Charles, are you trying to ensure that you're going to be traded by saying provocative things about the Suns' management, or do you consider that such a foregone conclusion it doesn't matter what you say?
Well, I'm not trying to make anybody mad. I'm just making facts. We just made some bad trades. We've won 60 games, 3 out of the last 4 years, and I feel bad. And I'm disappointed the way they've treated me. I'm disappointed the way they treated Dan Marley, Cedric Ceballos, Mark West, and I'm just frustrated.
2 very quick things before we let you go, Charles. Your thoughts on this game, not so much the first half, but actually the series. Is there any scenario by which you can see the Sonics winning this thing?
Well, the Sonics are very good. I mean, but the Bulls are a great team. I think they played very rusty the first half. The other guys were not really in rhythm. Michael was trying to take over and keep it to the other guys get their rhythm. But I think the Sonics have a decent chance. I don't see anybody beating the Bulls, but the Sonics have a slight chance.
Last thing, you're on the Dream Team again, and we know for a fact that the second game you play on July 22nd is against the African Continental Qualifier, and again it's Angola. And we recall that you threw a little elbow at a guy named Erlander Coimbra of Angola the last time, and we checked. He's on the team. Do you plan to take him out to dinner in Atlanta, show him the sights here in the States?
I'm going to hit him the same way I did the first time.
So you're not going to let up on him, huh?
No, Americans, we are the best country in the world, and we are the best at basketball, and we got to kill them all.
I understand he's been lifting weights the last 4 years. He's not a stick figure anymore. He's about 260 now.
Hey, I've been lifting weights ever since the day the season ended, and I'm ready.
All right, Charles, always good to talk with you. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome, Bob.
Okay, when we come back, we'll hear from Charles Barkley's former teammate in Philly, Julius Erving. But first, a message from Prudential and a word from the NBA. The Princess of Wales, as you know, is in Chicago right now. And a little earlier, there was a major fundraiser at the Museum of Natural History here to benefit cancer research. Some individuals, we're told, paid as much as $50,000 to attend. But perhaps the more desirable ticket tonight was for the Bulls and the Sonics, a chance to see basketball royalty. Michael Jordan, joined now by the doctor, highly esteemed himself. Julia, seems to me that although they trail by 5, considering the rust, and that was evident in the first half, the rust the Bulls picked up and a week and a half off, that makes this the game that the Sonics might be able to steal.
Well, this certainly was set up to be the type of game that the Sonics can steal, mainly because the Bulls had been off for a number of days. And I think the Bulls' outside shooting revealed to us mostly what the rust was about. They had took control of the game in the first quarter, but getting into the second quarter, they shot the Sonics back into the game by taking long-range bomb after long-range bomb. This triggers the Sonics' fast break. They're excellent at retrieving misses, stealing the ball, blocking shots, and then triggering the fast break. Gary Payton finally getting a layup was helpful for the Sonics scores too, because they were depending a little bit too much on Sean Kemp.
You know, I feel like we should repeat this. The Sonics are a very, very good team who in another year might very well be the favorites to win the NBA championship. Have you ever seen a team this good given so little chance against another team in a final?
They're not getting nearly enough respect. George Karl's done a fantastic job with this team. They have a player who got 3 fouls and no points, Detlef Schrempf, who's going to be a big factor in the second half, and they're able to stay close to Chicago without him being a great factor. You know, George, I talked to him a little bit this afternoon, and he said, I have some things in store for Chicago, but we need to feel our way. We need to feel in terms of how we need to play Michael Jordan, you know, how we need to play Tony Kukoc, Scottie Pippen. And, you know, they're doing a pretty good job of feeling, and both teams have been liberal in terms of their substituting, because Chicago's played 11 players and Seattle's played 10.
All right, Doc, thanks a lot. Turning now to action today in the French Open. 2 men's quarterfinals, and in the first, hard-serving Marc Rosset of Switzerland beat Bernd Karbacher in a 5-setter. Rosset thus advances to his first-ever Grand Slam semifinal. His opponent will be German Michael Stich, who beat the Frenchman Cedric Paolin in 4 sets. Just 4 men remaining in the draw in Paris. Our coverage continues with semifinal action on Friday morning as top seed Pete Sampras faces Yevgeny Kafelnikov of Russia. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. We'll hold it till 9 a.m. on the West Coast. And a reminder that Game 2 of the NBA Finals is Friday night back here in Chicago. The Bulls hosting the Sonics. Airtime for that, 9 o'clock Eastern. It's halftime in Chicago. The Bulls leading the Sonics by 5. Back to Marv, Matt, and Bill after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential. Live well, make a plan, be your own rock.
This game back in Chicago, halftime, game 1 of the NBA Finals. The Bulls 53 and the Sonics 48. So, Matt, the Bulls by 5, yet they're shooting only 36% from the field.
And Chicago's bench, which was so productive all year long, coming up empty, outscored 18-4 in that first half. 4 of those points going to Tony Kukoc.
And, Bill, you look at the Seattle stat line, very impressive, but very quiet first half for Gary Payton and Detlef Schrempf.
Detlef Schrempf seems to be intimidated, either he's in a fog. Gary Payton has to get up and down the court, create some opportunities, open this game up. Seattle Seattle is right there. Their offense a little bit stagnant, sluggish.
All right, a closer look at the statistics as we check out the Miller Lite halftime stats. Seattle 16 of 34, 47% shooting, yet they're trailing in the game. Chicago with 10 additional shots, but only 36% from the field. Michael Jordan, 12 of his 18 coming in the foul-filled second quarter. Look at the turnovers. Seattle with 10, leading to 14 Chicago points. Shawn Kemp with 5 of those 10 turnovers, but Kemp leading the way with 18 points. We'll be back with the second half from the United Center in just a moment. Marv Albert, Bill Walton, Matt Kukis back in Chicago. The Bulls by 5 as this third quarter gets underway. Kemp with 18, Perkins with 11, leading Seattle. Jordan with 18, and Longley with 12 to lead the Bulls. Shrimp being played by Pippen. A quiet first half for Pippen, only 2 field goals. Irvin Johnson and Dennis Rodman with rebound number 9.
Too soft for Irvin Johnson. Come across that lane and smash that ball through the hoop.
Jordan getting right to him.
Well, once the ball went into Michael Jordan, the quick double team right back out to Pippen, and then the quick repost, and Seattle's defense not quick enough to match it.
Now the matchup is a Longley guarding Kemp, and Kemp with 20 points.
Gary Payton is really floating that center post pass. You got to zip that ball in there and allow Shawn Kemp to go quickly by his defender.
Rodman's pass broken up. That left Shrimp in his 12 minutes in the first half did not score. And now the foul is called, and that will put Shrimp at the line. And for Longley, it is number 4.
Well, the experiment in the first half with Detlef Schrempf having the initial assignment on Michael Jordan did not work defensively. It certainly didn't help Detlef's offense as well. Here we see Shawn Kemp, who has been scoring almost at will. And I'm not really all that sure how worried the Bulls are about Shawn Kemp. They know he's going to get some points, but I think the Bulls are concerned about, much as they were in the Orlando series, they don't want to let the three-point shooters go off. They held Seattle to 3 for 8 from beyond the arc in that first half.
The interesting thing about Shawn Kemp is that when he was in all that foul trouble against Utah, Seattle was winning all those games. Then when he started having the big numbers, 25 points, 15 rebounds every game, that's when Utah got back into it.
Bulls by 3. We're just underway in the third. Now Johnson switching off on Jordan. Shrimp gets back to him. Shot clock at 6. 11 for Harper. It's the Bulls 57, the Sonics 52.
Irvin Johnson playing here in the presence of Bill Russell, one of the premier shot blockers in the history of basketball. He's just too slow to get to this ball. When Harper comes flashing across the middle here, Irvin Johnson is right there at 7 feet tall. It looked like Rodman held him down there.
That's why he was slow.
Putting added pressure on Irvin Johnson, who is a very fine shot blocker, but playing in the presence of Bill Russell.
You better bring it all when that happens.
Jordan is rejected. Pippen on the recovery. And he'll go to the line. Scottie Pippen, 4 of 4 at the line. Will shoot 2 more as Shawn Kemp picks up his 3rd foul.
This is not the kind of foul that Shawn Kemp needs. He is a very good shot blocker. He comes in there, and it looked like he was just trying to foul rather than making a good defensive play on Pippen, who can't find the range.
So the Bulls now lead by 7. Harper right on the chest of Payton. Harper looking for the steal is called for the foul. That's 3 on Ron Harper.
Well, the pick and roll play for Seattle has been so effective, or at least it has been throughout the playoffs, with Payton getting very low and Ron Harper working extremely hard, trying to force Payton up higher on the floor, not letting him get down so low.
Oh, Pippen looking for the steal. Here's Schlepp. Schlepp with the rebound and the bucket. So the follow by Detlef Schrempf. Pippen beating the Suns. Yes! And it comes. A foul committed by Hawkins.
Well, Dennis Rodman so aware of what all is going on between those lines. As soon as Schrempf made that layup, he got the ball quickly out of the net and fired a perfect football touchdown pass to Scottie Pippen, who actually caught that thing with one hand and almost palmed it for a second to gather himself and finish off that play.
Matt, compare that play and the fact that it took about 2 seconds to complete with Seattle's previous possession when they're dribbling the ball with Payton the whole time, maybe 20 dribbles, and then Detlef Schrempf having to get to the offensive glass to finally get a score.
And Pippen now 7 of 7 at the line. He has 14 points in all. Bulls have opened up an 8-point lead with 3 minutes gone by in the third. Schrempf rebounded by Kukoc. And a foul on Payton. That is his second.
And another poor possession by the Seattle Supersonics, taking so long to get involved in their offense. With 7 seconds on the shot clock, finally Schrempf looked up and just launched a jumper.
Jordan for 3. And Kukoc calling for time. Well, he saves the possession, called for the 22nd timeout, but it's changed to a full timeout. It will be Chicago ball when we come back. Bulls by 8, 8:44 to go, third quarter.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Jeep, makers of the new award-winning Jeep Grand Cherokee. By AT&T, Centennial Olympic Games partner. And by Reebok. Are you prepared to say, this is my planet?
We welcome you back to the United Center in Chicago with 8:44 to go in the third quarter. Well, NBA Commissioner David Stern always likes to bring a favorite player to the game just to kind of shoot the breeze. He's picked a pretty fair athlete by the name of Bill Russell.
13 years, 11 championships for Bill Russell.
Let's check in with Hannah Storm. Hannah?
Mark, the Sonics will be without their all-time steals leader for the rest of this game and maybe the series. Nate McMillan telling me he's just in too much pain because of the back injury to go for the rest of the day. He's going to make a determination tomorrow whether or not he'll sit out the rest of the series. Mark?
All right, thank you, Hannah. Dennis Rodman with his first field goal. Bulls open up a 10-point lead, so Nate McMillan gave it a shot. Played 6 minutes in the first half, did not attempt a field goal. Payton with a pretty move going glass, and the Bulls now lead 64-56. George Karl was hopeful that Nate would be able to play through the bad back, but you just heard the report.
That's a major loss, and also with Bukowski already ejected, Pippen from downtown. Seattle is struggling right now and on the verge of being in serious trouble.
And Scottie Pippen with 17 points. Kemp draws the foul. Biggest lead of the night being enjoyed here by the Chicago Bulls. Rodman called for his third, and Kemp to the line.
On the previous possession for Seattle, George Karl called a 1-4 for Gary Payton to let him operate in the middle of the floor. He senses that Gary is struggling when he gets to the wings because of the Bulls' defense. And with that floor spread, Gary can get into the lane, create for himself, or create for a teammate. To get back into this game, Seattle's going to have to do more of that.
Correction on that foul call. Ron Harper picks up number 4, so it was not Rodman. And Harper will sit down. Bill Wennington checking back in.
And again, Phil Jackson elected not to go much with Steve Kerr. Phil telling me beforehand that it's just tough to get a matchup that works for Chicago with Steve Kerr against this talented Seattle team.
Steve Kerr is so effective in the series against Orlando. Played only 7 minutes in the first half. Pippen for 3. And Payton wanted to run, but the Bulls got back. Payton pulls up for 3. Perkins, Shrimp able to save it. Perkins for three. Jordan for three. And back comes Perkins. 67-58. Chicago. Game one of the best of 7. Game 2 here in Chicago on Friday night. Oh, nice pass from Kemp. Payton had to give it up. Hawkins got the step, and he was pushed. Michael Jordan with a long look in the direction of Bennett Salvatore as he just was called for his 3rd foul.
Now Michael Jordan now has the assignment of guarding Gary Payton with Ron Harper sitting on the bench with 4 fouls. Everybody anticipated this matchup going both ways when you have the top scorer in the league in Michael Jordan and the Defensive Player of the Year in Gary Payton, but they have not seen that much of each other so far.
And that the 5th team foul on the Bulls, so the Sonics at the line. It has been a foul-filled game, 30 called in all. In the first half, 22 in the second quarter, a quarter that also saw Frank Brickowski ejected, hit with consecutive technicals following a flagrant.
One of the ways, though, that Seattle can work their way back into this game is by getting to the foul line. They've only taken 10 or 11 foul shots in the game. This is not a team, Seattle, that's shown a great ability to come from far behind.
Nice pass from Kukoc. And Rodman has 5 points. Bulls lead by 9. 6.5 remaining in the 3rd. Battle between Kemp and Rodman down low. Stay right here, says Bennett Salvatore, as a foul is called. It's on Rodman. That is his 3rd.
And a good battle it was for a long stretch of time. Both players working very hard for position. And I think a good job of officiating, letting the big men bang around in there until finally the little touch foul is called.
Well, Kemp is now 9 of 11 at the line. This a Seattle team that went 64-18 in the regular season, best record in the West, winningest team in the history of this Sonics franchise. In the playoffs, beat Sacramento, then swept Houston in 4, beat Utah, that terrific 7-game series. And for the Sonics, their first trip to the NBA Finals since they won the championship back in 1979, a team that featured Gus Williams and Dennis Johnson and Jack Sikma, Fred Downtown Brown, Paul Silas, team coached by Lenny Wilkins, it seems, in a previous life. Kukoc off the good lead pass, and the Bulls now lead by 9.
Beautiful feed by Dennis Rodman on penetration. He is becoming an offensive force again.
Payton trying to do it off the dribble against Pippen. Rodman goes down, and the foul on Kemp. That's his 4th.
Again, the size differential, the guy's darting up over the top of Payton. He's unable to get anything done. And then so little creativity. Shawn Kemp throwing Rodman to the ground. Seattle not showing an ability to interestingly get the ball to Shawn Kemp in the low post area.
Here's Steve Kerr, just came on from Michael Jordan. Able to close the baseline on Kukoc. Mismatch with Pippen against Payton. And Payton able to get to it on the scramble.
But the way that Chicago forces Seattle to make Payton give it up and have Kemp bring the ball up.
And a hack called on Pippen.
Well, that's one of the rare running opportunities for Seattle. The Chicago transition defense has been outstanding, but Gary Payton does not lead a lot of daylight. He can get into the lane, and that's when he can create for the Hersey Hawkins and the Detlef Schrempf and the Sam Perkins, but Payton has to get in the middle. This is an unusual substitution for Chicago with Michael Jordan going out midway through the 3rd quarter. Normally, Michael will play that whole 3rd quarter up until maybe 1 minute to go and get maybe a 3-minute rest surrounding between the 3rd and 4th quarter. And I just wonder if Michael's a little bit winded and maybe that 9-day layoff now hitting him as far as the conditioning is concerned.
6 of 15, 20 points in all. He had 12 of those 20 in the second quarter.
Mark, this is a real big gamble for George Karl right now, leaving Sean Kemp in with 4 fouls. There is a ton of time left in this game. Sean Kemp is very susceptible to picking up bundles of fouls.
Rodman went into the coach up front. Pippen and Kerr in the backcourt. Kerr with the floater. And Schrempf rebounds. 4.5 remaining. Third quarter.
Gary Payton's giving the ball up too quick.
And Schrempf hits the 3. So Detlef Schrempf, following the scoreless first half, has come on here in the third quarter.
And with Sean Kemp guarding Dennis Rodman, you're not going to run an isolation or a post-up for Dennis Rodman, so there's not a chance for a foul there. But where Sean Kemp picks up his fouls are those reach-ins and over the backs on the board.
Rodman, a wild shot by Rodman and a foul against the Sonics.
The Supersonics personal foul.
Foul on Payton, that's his third.
Well, so much for Dennis Rodman not attacking Sean Kemp. It just shows you how aware Dennis Rodman is. He normally doesn't even want the ball in the post, doesn't want to shoot the ball, but he knows that the man guarding him and a key player, Sean Kemp, has 4 personal fouls.
Remember when Hannah was talking at the beginning about how Payton was going to guard Pippen? That was a classic example of the difficulties of that matchup. Oh, Payton had a strip that they called up top.
The Supersonics personal foul, Sam Perkins, his third.
Foul on Perkins. That is his third, and now both teams over the foul limit. Scottie Pippen has been perfect at the line. Is back at the stripe, 7 for 7 from the free throw line.
And Mark, another example of the incredible folly of Zurkowski getting thrown out, because now they got nobody to come with. Seattle, they do have a good bench. It's 9 deep. They have 3 guys who don't really play. Wingate a little bit. But now you got McMillan out. Now you got Zurkowski out. That makes it a 7-man bench. No size.
Bulls with a 72-67 lead. And left Schrempf feeling it here in the third quarter. Going at Scottie Pippen. And the rebound by Kemp on the tip draws the foul. It has been a parade to the free throw line of the second and third quarters. Dennis Rodman collects number 4.
Well, during the Utah series, when Sean Kemp was getting into foul trouble early in that series, people were saying, you've got to cut down on your aggressiveness. You're getting in foul trouble. You're hurting your team. He said, I can't play that way. I'm not going to play that way. I play hard all the time and then let somebody else worry about the fouls. And we saw an example of it there, battling on the offensive glass, not worrying about having 4 fouls, just playing hard.
Well, Kemp, a 74% free throw shooter during the regular season, 12 of 14 at the line. Remember, 10 of 11 in Game 7 against Utah. 3-point Chicago lead. They've led by as many as 11.
It's a real solid combination for Seattle right now.
Shot clock down to 4. Pippen. Well, the Bulls have hit a drought here in the closing minutes of the third quarter.
On the post play from the perimeter guys.
But Sean Kemp able to hit over Dennis Rodman, and Kemp has taken over this quarter. He now has 28 points in all. He's brought the Sonics within 1.
Shaky offensive lineup for Chicago right now. Pippen, the only creator.
And Scottie Pippen knocks down the 3.
He created for himself.
Bulls by 4. Pippen with 21.
But what a terrible pass by Detlef Schrempf. It's so soft. Sean Kemp waited 5 seconds for that play.
The foul on Rodman, so that is 5 on Dennis Rodman with 2:32 remaining in the third quarter. A timeout is taken. It's the Bulls 75, the Sonics 71. in trouble with 5 personal fouls, and he is upset. We've talked with Dennis about his intense desire.
Anyone has played with me know that my desire to win is higher than my desire to live in the game of basketball. I think that people know that I would put my life on the line to win a basketball game, put my life on the line to save an individual on this team at any cost. I think people know that on this team, and anybody that's played with me. So the motion that I have to strive to be Dennis Rodman and to win a championship, it's not just for me, it's for the people that I'm playing with. I think it goes the same with Michael Jordan and Scottie. I think we really want to win a championship, not for ourselves, because I think we've been there. I think we want to win it for the other guys on the team, because they don't get the respect that we do.
Certainly the kind of guy you'd rather have on your team rather than on the other team. Dennis Rodman, though, unable to even perform right now, forced to the bench due to serious foul trouble. So much time left in this game, and critical players for both squads in foul difficulty.
And you look back at the regular season, Rodman fouled out only 1 time in the regular campaign, fouled out only 1 time earlier in the playoffs, sitting down now with 5, and the Bulls lead 75-73 after leading by as many as 11. But as we have been mentioning, Shawn Kemp also in foul difficulty. He is on the floor with 4. Here's Bushler. Nice lead pass, but he blew it.
And Mark, a very tough matchup for Shawn Kemp now against Tony Kukoc. Detlef Schrempf finding the range in the second half.
And the game is tied at 75. Schrempf with all 9 points in the third. Michael Jordan is back. Well, Michael Jordan sat down when it was 69-62 Chicago, and now he's given the Bulls a 77-75 lead. Nice ball movement by the Sonics. Perkins open. And Jordan appealing the call.
Well, Michael has been perimeter-minded all night. As soon as he realized the double team was going to come so quickly in that first quarter, and he just has too much quickness for Detlef Schrempf to keep him from getting into the lane.
Jordan felt that that ball was last touched by the Sonics. Rejection by Pippen. He was upset with that last call, but Pippen able to come up with the block. Bulls with the ball. They're up by 2 with 1:25 remaining in the third quarter.
Now this is a mismatch here. Quickly get it out of his hands.
Bushler for 3. Kukoc with the save. Bushler was shot well during the playoffs, not shooting well here tonight. Wennington. Bill Wennington with his first field goal. And the Bulls now lead 79-75.
Seattle has stayed on top of the rebound battle.
Hawkins not able to hit from downtown.
But without Kemp with foul trouble, without Rikowski, they're in trouble now.
Shot clock at 7. Bushler's pass broken up. Judd Bushler having some tough moments coming into tonight. He had hit 6 of 8 from the field in the series against Orlando. And now a call being made by Bennett Salvatore, which surprised the Sonics.
We have a double technical foul.
A double technical on Michael Jordan and Gary Payton.
Action away from the ball.
Well, Gary Payton has been matched up a couple of times with Michael Jordan. Not right now, but he is trying to get up into the chest of Michael at every opportunity and making physical contact. And there, Jordan and Payton just swatting away at each other. And the offside official, Bennett Salvatore, spotted it.
That's just good aggressive basketball. All that contact down in the chest area, certainly within the realm of sportsmanship.
And Bushler strip. 20 seconds remaining in the third. 4-point Chicago lead down to 10 seconds. Schrempf going one-on-one against Kukoc. And a foul call. So that will put Shrimp at the line for 2. That's 3 on Kukoc.
Well, this is the versatility of Detlef Schrempf at the offensive end of the floor. He can go inside and post up effectively, or when he has a slower-footed defender, as he did this time, Tony Kukoc on him, trying to spread the floor, and with the shot clock winding down and the quarter clock winding down, trying to get by him and get to the basket, able to cause contact and a foul.
Steve Kerr checking back in. And the rookie from Michigan State, Eric Snow, who has seen very limited action, coming on here for the first time. So George Karl going deep into what is now a depleted bench with the departure of Frank Witkowski and Nate McMillan not available.
And they're giving Gary Payton a very long rest right now. 7.8 seconds left in the third quarter. Gary Payton played all 24 minutes in that first half.
Eric Snow, a second-round pick of Milwaukee, and then traded to Seattle on the day of the draft. 2-point Chicago lead. Final seconds of the third. Bushler for 3. So Judd Bushler going 0 for 4 in the third quarter. Sean Kemp pivotal in leading the Sonics back. After 3, the Bulls 79, Sonics 77. Kemp with 30 points in all. They've come from 11 down, trailing by only 2 as we head to the fourth. We'll be back after this from your local station. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
Well, for those of you with computers, you can go online right now on finals.com and interact with NBC's own Steve Snapper Jones. You can send Steve your questions and comments about tonight's game right now during the game and during every game for the rest of the finals. He'll be providing game commentary, answering as many of your questions as possible. Apparently, the NBA Finals.com headquarters all the way upstairs. I would think it's an effort to keep Steve as far away as possible from Bill Walton.
I'm sure Steve is up there criticizing everything I've said tonight.
Oh, now, that's one point of view, isn't it?
Detlef Schrempf has worked his way back into this game with a terrific third quarter.
Oh, beautiful tip by Wennington to start the fourth quarter. The Bulls lead 81-77.
Phil Jackson desperately looking for some help from that bench, getting nothing from Steve Kerr and Judd Bushler, only Tony Kukoc, and now Bill Wennington with 4 points.
Gary Payton. And a loose ball foul. Foul on the Sonics. It is on Askew. That is his third.
Kukoc forces a shot over 2 guys, but that just opens up. That's Chicago Bull basketball. You force a double team. If you don't double team, you get burned by the one guy. And here's one guy you have to double team.
Kukoc with a gorgeous move. Spinning his way, and it leads to a timeout. George Karl wants to talk it over.
When you don't double team, Detlef Schrempf unable to just do anything against Tony Kukoc, finally having his way at the basket.
The NBA Finals continue. Game 2 Friday night at 9 Eastern on NBC.
Where great taste runs in the family, brings you Miller Moments.
Tonight we go back 19 years. Blazers versus Sixers. Game 6 of the 1977 NBA Finals. That's Dr. J. Julius Erving taking it all the way for the slam. But it was the Blazers' big redhead, Bill Walton, who was the dominant figure. He led the Blazers to a 109-107 win. The Blazers winning their only NBA title as Blazer Mania ran wild. Bill, I know you got chills just looking at that footage.
I have to keep reminding Dr. J that we did win that series.
Right.
They always love to run the highlights of him throwing down the dunks, but the Blazers did win.
Several of the principals on hand. Julius said, let's play it again right now.
And I did make a shot in that series that was not a layup.
In recognition of that moment, the Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. 44-second violation. And it should be pointed out that the big redhead was named Finals Most Valuable Player.
And deservedly so. George Karl was telling me this morning he is more concerned about how his team is going to be able to score in the series. He feels that the defense will hold up. Well, at this particular time, both are failing him right now.
And Hannah's been reporting regularly during those timeouts how George Karl has been lambasting his team for their lack of aggressiveness and assertiveness. They're not competing right now.
And with all those things going wrong for Seattle, they only trail by 6 points, still well in the hunt.
Kukoc. A three for Tony Kukoc, who has had a big game off the bench. He now has 11.
Seattle's got some real serious matchup problems. Detlef Schrempf can't guard anybody, and Sean Kemp cannot guard Tony Kukoc on the perimeter.
Perkins for three. But the Sonics hang in, down by 6. 9.5 remaining. In the fourth quarter, Schrempf getting set to make his return. Seattle had missed its previous 5 shots before that jumper by Perkins. Kukoc, yes! A potential 4-point play.
Well, Hannah Storm had told us in the last timeout that George Karl warned his team Michael Jordan is going to take over. Well, right now, it's Tony Kukoc taking over. 2 3-pointers, and a little while ago, a beautiful move inside, but Tony Kukoc is feeling it. His jumper has been absent throughout the whole playoff. 3 for 36 coming into this one, and maybe this 9-day layoff, Tony Kukoc found his jumper.
A 4-point play for Kukoc. And the Bulls now lead by 10.
And Chicago continues to make it so difficult for Peyton and Seattle to get into anything early in their offense.
Michael Jordan battling to come up with the rebound. 3 minutes gone by in the fourth.
Looks like the Bulls want to get the ball to Kukoc, the man with the hot hands.
Well, Jordan tried to get it down low, intended for Pippen. Here is Kemp. Sean Kemp, 9 of 12 from the field. He has 32 points. 8-point Chicago lead. Longley getting position on Perkins. Shot clock out of 5. Longley. Harper with a rebound.
Seattle standing around watching.
Oh, nice play by Peyton, and he's fouled by Pippen. That is 2 on Pippen. Gone by in the fourth quarter. Game 1 of the NBA Finals Series. Game 2 here in Chicago on Friday night. Perkins with the save. Look out. And Sam landing in our lap. I thought I made a pretty good save on that one.
I thought you were heading for the 5th row.
No, that was my way of protecting Sam Perkins. Here's another look.
Gary Payton is unable to create inside in all the earlier.
More importantly, watch this guy.
Marv Albert standing right up there and
I think he was
saving
leaving.
Matt Kukoc.
He was leaving the building.
Kukoc with the crowd looking for the foul on Schrempf. And that will put Kukoc back at the line. So the Bulls with a 90-82 lead. And Tony Kukoc at the free throw line. Kukoc with 9 of his 15 in the fourth quarter. The Chicago Bulls going 72-10 in the regular season, best record in the history of the NBA in the playoffs. They swept Miami in 3, beat the Knicks in 5 in a tough series, swept Orlando in 4, and now gunning for their 4th NBA title in 6 seasons. But a long way to go. This is only game number 1. The steal by Harper. And the Sonics call for time.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Oldsmobile, by Prudential, live well, make a plan, be your own rock, and by New Miller Beer, the brand new beer from Miller with big flavor that goes down easy.
Back in Chicago, Marv Albert, Matt Dukas, Bill Walton, Rod Rashad, Hannah Storm, Gary Payton with a quiet ball game. Michael Jordan, a quiet second half. Look at the overall numbers.
Well, Gary Payton has to wear 3 hats for this Seattle team. He has to score himself, he has to create for his teammates, and he has to be the catalyst defensively, and he really hasn't done the defensive job so far in this one.
What he has to do most of all is get some offense going for himself and put some pressure on this Chicago Bulls defense. Careless play once again by Seattle.
And Pippen with the steal. Bulls with a 93-82 lead. Breaking it open once again here in the fourth quarter. Luke Longley rebounded by Scottie Pippen. Pippen with 3 steals. We saw the numbers on Michael Jordan, who's been quiet in the second half. Kukoc and Harper keeps it alive. But the rest of the Bulls have done it. Scottie Pippen has turned it around in the second half. Tony Kukoc with a terrific job off the bench. Perkins stealing from Jordan. And you know, although Sam does not show it, that's one of his career highlights.
You'll never let him forget that.
Oh, that's one that will be shown time and time again. Nice move. Gary Payton with 9 points, and the Bulls now lead 93-84.
And that's the post move that Gary Payton was so successful against John Stockton and the Utah Jazz, but against the taller guards of Chicago, unable to get down there as much as I'm sure he'd like to.
Just under 6 minutes remaining in the fourth. Oh, picked off by Kemp, and here's Payton. Well, Longley had that pass telegraphed, and Phil Jackson is very upset.
Well, Chicago has been so sharp with the basketball throughout this ballgame, taking care of it. 6'11", Sam Perkins taking it away from the best player on the planet, Michael Jordan. And there's that post move by Gary Payton, and then Luke Longley just throwing a terrible pass as Gary Payton will finish off this play from Shawn Kemp.
Fourth full season as the head man of Seattle. Friday in prime time at 9 p.m. Eastern. It'll be game 2 of the NBA Finals. We'll be back here at the United Center as the Sonics go up against the Bulls once again. That'll be Friday at 9 Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, right here on NBC.
Michael Jordan very quiet in the second half. Only 4 of his 22 points coming in this second half.
Open look for Harper, but gave it up. Dennis Rodman back on the floor playing with 5 fouls. But the Bulls now lead 95-86.
And we see that special ball movement that the Bulls have been so noted for all season. Kukoc and Rodman, vice versa. Everybody getting involved right now. Gary Payton just can't finish in the basket area. Too much size, too much athletic ability for Chicago.
Kukoc from Jordan. 18 for Tony Kukoc.
And that's a big reason why Michael has not had to assert himself offensively. Tony Kukoc has picked it up.
12 of his 18 here in the fourth. Harper has had an outstanding night with the steal. And again, George Karl wants to talk it over.
Michael Jordan in transition, finding his teammates who are all running the floor. Big men just out hustling the Sonics right now. And then Harper has been in the passing lanes all night long. No answer for Seattle. They're forced to the bench again.
We said at the start it was important for Shawn Kemp and Michael Jordan to get their respective teams off to a good start, and they did just that. Kemp led the Sonics with 18 first-half points. In a close battle, Jordan had 18 of his own, and the Bulls led by 5 at the half. Third quarter, more Kemp, 12 more points for game-high 30 after 3, but in the fourth, Ron Harper and Tony Kukoc combining. Ron Harper with a terrific game. 15 points, 7 assists, and Tony Kukoc with 12 of his 18 in the fourth.
One of the toughest things for Seattle is that they don't move when they don't have the ball.
Last touch by Longley, trying to save it. Well, the Bulls have taken over in the fourth quarter. They have outscored Seattle 20-9, and Jordan and Pippen have not scored here in the fourth quarter. Chicago 8 of 12 from the field in this fourth quarter, and the foul on Pippen, his third.
No, Michael Jordan is going to do what he has to do. In the first half, as his teammates were a little slow to get involved, other than Luke Longley and Scottie Pippen, Michael carried the ball. Here in the second half, with Kukoc taking care of things and Ron Harper having a sparkling game, Michael is just standing by if needed.
Hawkins, and Kemp gets it back. Now Kemp from deep. Jordan with the rebound.
Well, the scary thing for Seattle is that Jordan, after a relatively quiet game, that's usually when he comes back and plays his absolute best. Remember, after a quiet game 3 against Orlando, comes back with 45 in the closer.
Oh, nice move by Luke Longley. 14. That is a playoff career high. Crowd reacting. It'll be 19 on the shot clock for Seattle.
Longley gets a good block, but Gary Payton gives up the ball too early, hangs his teammates out to dry.
Charge called on Payton. That's his fourth, and it's all going wrong now for the Sonics.
Well, Seattle with 10 turnovers in the first half started to take better care of the ball throughout the third quarter, but now a rash of turnovers for Seattle.
Well, so much for the 9-day layoff and the concerns of Phil Jackson and the Chicago Bulls. They have their biggest lead of the night. They're up by 15. Just under 3 remaining, fourth quarter. Open shot for Harper, but came up with air. And here is Payton. So the Bulls now lead 101-88.
Very difficult for Seattle to come back against this kind of lead. They don't have really anybody right now who's able to take the game over completely. Now, Shawn Kemp has been hot throughout, but they haven't been able to capitalize on that. And Gary Payton has struggled offensively.
Oh, Michael Jordan with a high arcing jump shot, and then had something to say to the Seattle bench.
Looked right down at Vincent Askew, said, "I'm pretty good."
Yes. And we are down to 2 minutes remaining in the fourth.
Scottie Pippen has had an outstanding game. Not gigantic numbers in their area. Terrific Terrific defense on Detlef Schrempf, clogging the lane, making the plays when needed. A solid performance from Scottie Pippen.
Long lane. Oh, look out. Rodman just went down. Joe Crawford taking a long look. Sean Kemp has fouled out. Here's another look at it.
A totally unnecessary play. All of them hooked up there. Frustration by Sean Kemp. Just let that one go. You got to play above the antics of Dennis Rodman, who incites that type of behavior. And loves it all the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, I think Sean Kemp pushed him on his wrist. And he went sprawling like the building fell on him.
Saw the final numbers on Kemp. 32 points, 9 of 14 shooting, 7 rebounds in 40 minutes. Oh, look out. Harper and Payton. And the collision, Payton was going for the steal. That's 5 on Payton.
Gary Payton shooting the gap on the weak side. A violent collision. These are two of the toughest guys you'll ever come across. Fortunately, they're both okay. One of the biggest questions for George Karl is going to be, who's he going to have Detlef Schrempf guard for the rest of this series? Because they have attacked his man every time.
Jordan. And he'll go to the line.
Well, Michael, I'm sure, will say he was totally unimpressed with the strategy of Schrempf doing the guarding of Michael and then the double team, because he just quickly realized that he was just going to move outside, and that would negate a lot of the double teaming and spread the floor for himself, where he could drive, take his jump shots, get others involved as he did in the second half.
And then when they did switch, when Seattle did switch a smaller guy, Michael just swung right into the low post and punished him down there. That's that versatility of Jordan and the Bulls offense, which is brilliant at picking out where the advantage is.
26 for Jordan, along with 7 rebounds. And the Bulls have opened up a 105-88 lead as we come up on 1 minute remaining in the fourth quarter. So an impressive start for the Chicago Bulls. Foul is called. Schrempf took the hit. An impressive start. Some concern, and it was genuine concern on the part of the Bulls that the long layoff could have an effect. Phil Jackson with the victory smile at this point. The Bulls last played in that fourth and final game against Orlando on May the 27th. They were getting sick of going against each other in practice.
And Phil did tell us yesterday that the two players that the layoff might possibly help was Scottie Pippen, who has an assortment of bumps and bruises, and Ron Harper, who has a bad knee and had to have that knee drained during that week, and he has responded beautifully.
It certainly helped Luke Longley, but this Chicago Bulls team is so special. When you got guys like Jordan and Rodman who just have such a killer instinct out there, the practices become so competitive, and then the genius of Phil Jackson that keeps everybody sharp all the time.
Shot clock at 5, 40 seconds remaining in the game. Jordan, yes, in dramatic fashion.
That's just an impossible matchup for Detlef Schrempf, who doesn't have the foot speed to challenge Jordan.
Askew. That was a three-point attempt. We are down to 25 seconds remaining. Looked like Pippen got a piece of it. And the Bulls now hearing it from the crowd. They're on their feet at the United Center. Michael Jordan with 28 points. Scottie Pippen with 21. Tony Kukoc with 18. Ron Harper 15. Luke Longley 14. Sean Kemp leading the Sonics with 32. And the Bulls have won game 1, 107-90. We'll be right back. Chicago, the Bulls win game 1 over the Sonics 107-90, taking over with a 28-13 advantage in the fourth. Let's go to Ahmad with Michael Jordan.
All right, thanks, Mark. Michael, a lot of people wondered that you guys might be rusty after that long layoff, but I think you laid that all to rest.
Well, physically, I think we ran well. I think we just was out of sync a little bit offensively, and that's natural for having 8 days off. I think the guys really had the determination to come out and run hard and play hard. We played very hard defensively. You got to give us credit, and Ron Harper did a heck of a job on Gary Payton, and he created a lot of breaks for us down the stretch.
Glad to get this thing going.
Yeah, glad to get it going.
All right, thanks, Michael. All right, let's go back to you, Marv.
All right, Ahmad, and Michael got it going with 28 to lead the way for Chicago, but good balanced scoring by the Bulls. Seattle only 5 of 18, just 13 points in the fourth. Again, the final score, Bulls 107, and the Sonics 90 from Matt Gukas, Bill Walton, Ahmad Rashad, Hannah Storm, and Bob Costas. I'm Marv Albert saying so long from the United Center in Chicago. Game 2 coming up Friday night right here on NBC, starting at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. That'll be Game 2 of the best of 7, the Bulls and the Sonics on Friday. You've been watching the NBA on NBC.
NBC5, Chicago. Now live from the NBC Tower, this is the Channel 5 News at 10.
Do authorities have their man, Richard Devon, taken into custody, charged in connection with a hit and run that killed 3 schoolgirls?
A royal welcome for the Princess of Wales as she arrives tonight for a black tie gala at the Field Museum.
Goes to the fadeaway.
And basketball's would-be royalty battles for the NBA crown, the Bulls and the Sonics in Game 1 of the finals. Good evening, I'm Ron Majors.
And I'm Carol Marine. 1 down, 3 to go on a night when Chicago welcomes royalty. The Bulls take the first step towards their own crowning moment. John Kelly is live at the United Center. John?
Thank you very much, Carol. And tonight the Bulls get the job done. I am joined by Dick Versace and Dixie. The Bulls, 9 days off. They did look a little rusty at the beginning. Seattle comes out and proves they didn't win the West by accident, but in the end, the Bulls just cranked it up in that fourth quarter.
Well, it was a little period of time in the fourth quarter when they denied what I call the A to B pass. That's that simple little perimeter pass from the point to the wing or from the wing back to the point. They denied 2 or 3 of those, got breakaways, broke the game open.
Absolutely. And the Bulls, well, they end up winning this one by a fairly hefty margin, but I think Seattle made a point to a lot of people, including the Bulls, that they didn't just come here just to show up and get beat around. But once again, the Bulls lead the series 1-0, and without a further ado, let's take a look at Game 1 highlights. And right off the top, Dennis Rodman steals the show and comes up with that funky new tribal graffiti look. Luke Longley starts tough. He goes to the hoop, gets the bucket and the foul. That's a 3-point play. He ties the game at 8 all early. Now Sam Perkins later on, he will finish off this break. He sets, stops, pops, drills the 3-pointer, part of a 19-6 run. The Sonics in control there. But Frank Burkowski comes in and lives up to his name, picks on Dennis Rodman for a little while. Later on, Burkowski gets a technical, and he gets tossed on out of there. We'll have more on that later. Now, in the second half, MJ so smooth, dancing like Fred Astaire. Jordan 18 points in that first half, and the Bulls are up at the break. In the second half, Dennis plays assist man to Tony. That's a beautiful thing, 71-62 Bulls. Sonics hang tough. Detlef Schrempf, the 3-pointer, that cuts the lead down to 4. And then it's Sean Kemp. He was tough all night. Battles and wins with Rodman there. It's a 1-point game, 72-71, Bulls still up. Now it's more Tony. He backs in for the high percentage shot, and the Bulls begin to pull it away. Kukoc finishes the night with 18 points. This one, that's money in the bank. That ends up a 4-point play. The Bulls crank it up late and take game 1 by a final of 107-90. And Dix, we checked some of the stats. Tony, we said at 18. Michael Jordan, 28 points. He was strong in that first half. Second half, kind of quiet. Got everybody else involved.
Well, see, Jordan did play a very, very intelligent game. He got everybody involved. He wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be the Michael Jordan show. He knew that Seattle was going to come out and make him the focus of what they had to do defensively. They surprised everybody, put Detlef Schrempf on him. He played him most of the time. They ran some clever double teams at him, so he got everybody else involved. Good thinking. Decent start for the Chicago Bulls. I think the biggest mistake they made tonight was not getting out in time to hear Anita Baker sing that national anthem. Once again, the Bulls, they are up 1-0. We'll hang out here and get some post-game. Right now, let's send it back to Ron.
Thank you, John. And as if 72 regular season wins wasn't enough to get excited about, Bulls fans turned up the volume at the United Center. Channel 5's Marianne Ahern joins us live with more on this wave of finals fever. Marianne?
That's right, Ron. Some Bulls fans before the game started were a little bit worried that the players might be rusty. They hadn't played in a long time. But let me tell you, no Chicago fan is leaving disappointed. Finally, what Bulls fans have been waiting for, the playoffs are underway. More than 200 international broadcasters are feeding the game back live to places like China, Greece, Israel, and Spain. And there's nothing like watching the game from a roomy skybox, complete with desserts that sweeten the score.
These strawberry shines are awesome. The Bulls and Sonics. Where else would you want to be on a Wednesday night?
Celeb sightings tonight include Reggie Jackson and the Reverend Jesse Jackson, as well as Pearl Jam lead singer Eddie Vedder, who's watching his hometown Sonics with his grandmother. Reggie Jackson, however, is predicting a 4th ring for the Bulls.
I like the Bulls in 6. You know, 6. I don't think anyone will think it's going to go beyond 4 or 5, but I really kind of would like to see it go 6, be fun, watch a few more games. Don't have to wait so long to see the Bulls play again next year, you know.
And they only have until Friday because the Bulls will be back here, and some are already talking sweep. That means that perhaps Friday could be the last home game. Reporting live from the United Center, Marianne Ahern, Channel 5 News.
And you know, Marianne, tonight we had that conflict, the Bulls or Diana. Do you watch the game or do you take a chance?
We, owners of United, are proud to be a part of Chicago's hometown airline. Come fly our friendly sky.
Seattle has got some capabilities of making it a very interesting series and not a sure thing for Chicago. I think Phil is fortunate that he's got the type of people he has because, you know, everybody's saying it's a lock, but I think they all know they've got to come out and really play tough against Seattle.
Well, Bulls did play tough this evening. They win by 17 points. Big Red Kerr brought up the Bulls defense, putting it in gear. What about Ron Harper tonight?
Well, this team has always played defense. Ron Harper just a step above everyone else when it came to this key play situations and coming up with steals, hitting some key shots along with that. And Ron Harper, big game. But this team, when nothing's going their way in offense, they always play defense. Always plays the defense.
Yeah, that's what won it for them again tonight. Bulls win by 17. And let's check out Norm's keys to the game. And what's your theme of today?
Well, my theme this evening, Steve, will be about royalty in honor of Lady Di.
There you go.
Oh, yes, Lady Di. Let's start with it right now. Let's start with Lord Kemp and Prince Di. Prince Di being that Dennis Rodman, as you call it, the subway graffiti all over the head there. But Dennis came around playing tough, strong, intimidating, and doing some things that was definitely necessary. But I tell you what, Lord Kemp was on. He went outside and hit a shot, and he was looking for it, and he did hit quite often tonight. Watch this beautiful pass right here. Nice little play by Dennis getting it up, but a beautiful pass by Tony, as Prince Di was definitely colorful this evening, as you see that. But Sean Kemp, man, what a game he had. You give him low, outside, any way you want to put it, he did his thing. And hats off to him, as he had a heck of a game for the Sonics. Defending the realm. You know what? You got to watch your territory, and that's exactly what Luke Longley did. A good block right there, coming up on a few times. Sean Kemp was blocked going to the hoop. Look at his steal. Looks like a foul to me. That Scottie Pippen getting fouled after the steal, but that's what the Bulls did. Defend their territory. Look at that royal defense by my man, my friend now, the comeback player of the year, Ron Harper. Yes, I was on his case hard last year, but you know what? He's big time right now. There you go, another block shot. Luke Longley, as they say, Luke doing his thing. Defending the rim, yes, defending the territory. Now, King Kukoc, yes indeed, I am the king. And Tony showed it tonight. Maybe the rest did him quite well, Steve, because he came in playing, looked like he was active, moving, dunked that one. Now he's outside. Didn't hesitate by way of, when I say I'm going to take it, I'm taking it, and that's what King Kukoc did tonight, and he just was awesome. No more Sleeping Beauty, as King Kukoc did his thing. Stand up and hail the chief. Yes, indeed, Scotty. Great game, as Tony Kukoc came out with 18 points and looked mighty good.
Yeah, one big key to the series in this matchup of the sixth men, Tony and Sam Perkins, and I guess Tony wins round one right here. Sam with 14 points, but only 3 in the second half, as the Chicago Bulls outscore Seattle 28-13 in that pivotal fourth quarter, and the Bulls win by 17 tonight, 107-90, thumping them in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. About time Tony played well, I guess, because really he has not had a good playoff run so far.
Well, you could say the bad back and the physical type of teams that he had to play against the playoff being that of Miami along with New York. And Tony, in my opinion, never has played well against very physical teams. But tonight, I don't think Seattle's as physical, even though they play a nice, hard play of basketball. But Tony had no hesitation to take shots, post low, go to the hoop, and all the things he needed to do in the earlier series. But however, was glad to have him back. Hope he stays there and keeps steady, because he has another dimension to this game and to this team that is well needed against Seattle, who's very athletic and can do a lot of things versatily. So
I want to ask you about that key stat of Bulls outscoring Seattle 28-13 in the fourth quarter. Is that possibly because Seattle is tired after playing 7 games against Utah and only 2 days of rest?
Well, I like to say the combination of being tired. Let's give them some credit or some, respect for doing that at the same time against Utah. But the Bulls defense always dominates down the stretch run. Bulls did this to the Knicks. They did it to Miami with Alonzo Mourning in the group. Get down to the fourth quarter with the conditioning this team is in. To Vermeil, that's to you, buddy. This team will always play defense, and it takes its toll in the fourth quarter. It is a 48-minute game, and when you play 44 minutes, 46 minutes, around that 40-minute, you will get the defense taking its toll, and that's when the Bulls will kill you.
Chicago Bulls now 12-1 in the 1996 NBA playoffs. Really amazing. We talked about the play of Luke Longley tonight and some of Norm's keys to the game, and here's what Luke did. Unfortunately, Luke only had 2 points in the second half. He had 12 first-half points, only 2 in the second half, and 4 rebounds, 1 block. They talked about in the papers Luke may not play all that much because although he's the tallest guy on the court, he's not as quick as some of these guys on Seattle. But that's not a bad game for him.
That means nothing, but let me tell you something. He opened the whole system of the Bulls getting outside shots with the inside game. You remember how he used to feed Cartwright? You give it to him, try to establish something early down low. Well, Luke scoring low early opened it up for the outside shots with the Bulls hit early. Even though the Bulls start missing some of those outside shots, let me tell you something. Luke's points inside, or his ability, or his willing to go to the hoop and the Bulls feeding him, definitely opening up for the Bulls to get outside and they run that triangle. He may not be used the whole game, but let me tell you, his presence in running that triangle is very, very important because he does it better than any other center.
All right, we're going to take a short break. Still more coming up on the Bulls post-game show, hoping that they break their locker room soon because we're going to hear from the podium and also inside both locker rooms. Stay with us, folks. Again, Bulls 107, Seattle 90 tonight, 28 for MJ.
The Bulls postgame is brought to you in part by Payne Weber. When you invest with Payne Weber, you invest with more intelligence. And by United. The employee owners of United are proud to be a part of Chicago's hometown airline. Come fly our friendly skies.
We both talked about it for years. Opening your own business, moving someplace where you can actually watch your kids grow up. But I'm still here, and she's there. I thought I was doing pretty well. I've got a solid portfolio. She must be doing better than that. What does she have that I don't have?
Payne Weber. Invest with more intelligence.
I'll trade you this Michael. I'll trade you Saul Bello for Bertrand Russell. Oh, you have a Saul Bello? Yep. Did you guys know Enrico Fermi won the Nobel for discovering radioactive elements? Duh! Here he comes!
Chicago has had more Nobel Prize winners than any other city. Could it be because we're so well-traveled? United. Hometown airline to one smart town.
Any advice, sir?
See the world, kid. Keep studying those algorithms.
Come fly our heavenly skies.
At a time when your family is growing and your income seems to be shrinking, the price of some family sedans is getting out of reach. But there is one car you can trust. Introducing the 96 Lumina. With standard features like automatic, air conditioning, and power locks, you can feel comfortable in it. With dual airbags and front and rear crush zones, you can feel safe in it. And for over $2,000 less than Ford Taurus GL, you can actually afford it. The 1996 Lumina, a car your family can trust. That's genuine Chevrolet.
Here's Bulls head coach Phil Jackson meeting the media.
Michael out early in the third quarter to give him a rest so that we'd have that energy in the fourth. And I thought that was the important time in the first, actually it was 2 minutes of the fourth quarter when we came in and we scored immediately and got a little lead and started stepping it up defensively. Well, you know, we kept searching for matchups tonight, and with Longley and Dennis in foul trouble, we had to keep adjusting our matchups, using Tony either at a power forward position or small forward, and Bushler coming off the bench also to fill in behind. Harper got a little bit of trouble the first half, and he had to come out of the game even though he was playing well. Ron has not been able to practice a lot during this off time because of an injury, and so we kind of had to nurse him through, and he came out and gave us a real good second half behind that.
How did you feel about Schrumpf?
Well, they threw Schrumpf at Michael, and Detlef has played him before. We were not surprised by that, and we thought he did a nice job on it, but that's kind of the way we wanted to feel it out anyway in this first game.
So where was this team compared to where you left off?
Well, I thought we were, you know, obviously did not shoot well in the first half. We got plenty of shots. We got open shots. Our three-point shooting was there. We didn't hit our three-point shots. But that was okay. I felt it was good for us to get the energy offensively that we had to have, because that's where you're going to fall out of sync, first of all, is in the offense, your coordinated rhythm, particularly in an offense that we run. So we weren't surprised by that. We were a little bit miffed at the fact that we put them on the foul line so many times in the second and third quarter.
How important is it for players like Luke and Ron to get off well?
Well, you know, our starters had to carry us today, and you know, our bench, you know, particularly coming off the bench, is going to be difficult in a series like this, their first finals, and you know, the inexperience that our bench might have showed up a little bit. I thought Steve Kerr and Judd didn't find their shots, and you know, Ron and our starters combined played very well in the fourth quarter.
Phil, talk about the turnovers, a matter of anticipation or bad passing or big engine turnovers?
Well, it was our defense. You know, we stepped a little pressure up on them, and I thought just took them out of the easy rotation of the ball that they like to do through the swing pass, and that was you know, really the key at the end of the game with 3 steals there that changed the course of the game.
Coach, how important is it for Tony Kukoc to have such a good game this game, and could you see his rhythm finally coming together in the third quarter with the assists?
Well, you know, I thought he made a couple nice passes, and that kind of got him seated in the ball game, that he looked to pass the ball. He found a couple guys open for layups, and then he got a rhythm in the game. He was able to keep himself in the ball game by finding a rhythm. And when Tony does that, he's going to find his way around to score and to do some things. He got to run out and dunk, and that started to help him go. Well, you know, we thought that the big body that Luke can provide at least will be a good bump for Sean, and you know, he had a very good game tonight, and you know, we knew that we'd have to adjust as we went through the game. We didn't want to get Dennis in foul trouble early in the game, and I thought that you know, he did get in foul trouble regardless. Both of them did, and Luke was able to just stay in front of him and keep his body on him at least to provide us some support out there.
Okay, we'll take one more question for Coach Jackson.
Was Michael feeling the effects of the layoff, you think, or had any more than...
No, I don't think so. You know, I think he felt good about this game. This kind of game I think he likes to have in the first game. He's going to find his time and his pecking time in this series particularly.
Okay, Sonics, George Coffey, we'll be next.
All right, Phil Jackson meeting the media. By the way, the team that has won Game 1 has gone on to win the last 4 NBA Finals. The last team not to win Game 1 was the Bulls' first championship team back in 1991 against the Lakers. Then they won the next 4. Let's go back to the United Center. George Karl, the Seattle coach, now meeting the media.
They weren't too.
Cute. I'll just take questions.
What happened in the fourth quarter, Coach? That you're the turn to keep them scoring?
I'm sorry?
What did they do to score?
They play, you know, they have a great tendency as the game goes on to build their pressure. They have a knack to get more aggressive as the game goes on, and we got more tentative and less aggressive, and they won that battle of aggressiveness big time, mostly because of our turnovers, mostly because of I didn't think we were very aggressive, a little bit because Sean had some foul trouble and we had to take him out of the game, and that was really our big hot button going in the game. And they play with a great deal of confidence when their defense is hot. And in the fourth quarter, it got hot, and we didn't react real well. But there's a lot of good stuff for us out there. We played three quarters of ball. I still didn't think we were playing great basketball when we were in the game. And I like some of the stuff out there, and I think we're in the beginning of the learning process. You know, every game, if we can learn something about the Bulls that help us further on, we will get to a comfort zone that will be very competitive. I thought tonight we were very competitive for three quarters, but great team, great court. They won this one. We'll learn if we get better. It'll be fun on whenever we play next.
George, once Kukoc hit that first three, are you a little concerned that you might be coming out of that slump and just got one shot?
Well, his 7 points there were huge. I mean, we had the confidence in the game at that time, and he makes those 7 points. I think it goes from 2 to 9 in those two or three possessions. He gets into a running game a little bit, and then we throw the ball away, and we lose our confidence in the game, and maybe we ran out of gas a little bit. You know, Gary played a lot of minutes, and Sean played a lot of minutes, and without having Nate, it puts a lot of pressure on a lot of our guys to play minutes where we're probably more used to more guys playing more minutes. Well, I think their defense gives you some things. One being you got to finish some shots in the paint and going to the rim, and we didn't get that done very much tonight. I think penetration is something that we're going to have to look at being better at. I think we got to be patient against their pressure. You're not going to score probably in the first 15, 16 seconds in the game, but of the shot clock. But as the shot clock wears on, have patience and keep moving the ball, keep going to second and third options. And it's actually better against the Bulls to run the shot clock out than it is to throw the ball away, because when you throw the ball away, they turn it into points. If you just run the shot clock out, then you get to set your defense and play that way.
What hurt though when with Kowski going out, kind of one of your key players going out, X's and O's?
You know, Frank says he got 2 technicals for saying nothing. I don't know. I think the NBA has been tremendously unfair to Frank Bukowski ever since David Robinson, the fight with David Robinson early this season. The league will not allow Frank Bukowski to be a player, and I think it's awful. I mean, Frank's physical, but he just never had a reputation in the past, and it just seems they got a magnifying glass on him. And you know, tonight it hurt us. You know, that was 5 free throws in a stretch where the game was pretty equal. I know we were up 44-41, but I don't know after that.
What's the situation with Nate?
He told me at halftime he couldn't play. I don't know where his situation is after that. So we will keep you updated on if he will play on, I don't know what day it is, Friday.
Are you happy that you out-rebounded Bulls?
I didn't feel like we out-rebounded them, you know. I don't think we can beat this team without winning the hustle game and a little bit more of the transition game. I was come out happy in transition, but I thought they got loose balls, and they have a funny way of building confidence with Rodman and their Buechler, and they got a big lift from Longley tonight. You know, we did a good job on Kerr, didn't do a good job on Longley. But, you know, we got to compete with them, and I think their attitude is a little more part of their heart than people think it is. But I think my basketball team has a big heart too, so.
Okay, one last question for Coach Carl. Were you surprised that you were able to out-rebound them, only the second time in the playoffs they have been out?
It was a big emphasis of the game for us. It's probably the fundamental, along with passing the basketball, for us to be successful. You know, we only had 16 assists. I think we're going to have to get, 25 or 28 assists, that area, and then rebound the ball. Those are big fundamentals. They have a lot of motion in their offense, which creates a lot of offensive rebounding position, and they also have great offensive rebounders.
Okay.
All right, George Karl, the Seattle coach, looking like he just came off the golf course. Obviously shot over par today and did not come up with a victory. A few minutes ago, Lou Canellis caught up with Bill Wennington inside the Bulls locker room. We will go to that in 1 second from what we understand. Michael Jordan's at the podium right now. Let's pick it up with MJ.
Scotty's? I think Scotty played a heck of a defensive game. I think he was very active. He was all over the place. He made it tough for entry passes. He made it tough on, turning it back to him. He was able to get back and get some blocks. I think Ron Harper did an excellent job with his in passing lane. And I think he really gave us a great effort tonight. And Lou gave us a great effort from the center position. I think he's glad to not face a dominant center so he can dominate himself, I think. And I think overall, I think we had to play a starting five quite a bit, but Tony came in and gave us some good minutes.
Michael, can you switch microphones?
Why? Move closer. Does it work?
It's okay. It's all right.
No more questions? Good. Yeah, I anticipate them throwing a lot of people at me. I think that's their way of making other players step up and hurt them. And I think we proved that other players could step up. And I think they're gonna have to make adjustments from that. I'm pretty sure they're gonna stay focused. But as myself, I have to be patient. Don't try to force the issue, move the ball around to the open people, and hopefully we could capitalize on their double teams. And I'm anticipating seeing quite a few more people. I think Nick McMillan didn't really play that much, and I feel he's going to come back and play a little bit the next game. But I think we're ready to face any type of defense. I think we have faced pretty much every type of defense.
Michael, can you talk about Tony's significance in the game?
Yeah, as you know, Tony's been struggling here in the playoffs, and I think he came out today and really gave us a big lift offensively. He made a couple big shots, and I think his confidence started to grow a little bit. And that's what it's all about, is to get some confidence where you can perform, and hopefully you can find the flow of the game. And he came in and gave us some really big minutes at a crucial time.
Was it a plan to try to work into Longley early in the game, get him involved?
No, it's just a matter of getting into an offensive set. And Luke seemed to be more aggressive tonight, and we got him the ball, and he became a threat for us. And I think that's important for us and important for him. Whatever he can give us and get some of their big guys in the foul trouble would be great.
Michael, when Kemp got his fourth foul, do you think you could have exploited that a little bit better inside?
Well, I mean, they play great help defense, so for us to go at him solely, I think really would be falling into their hands in a sense, because they moved their defensive help very quickly, and we really didn't have an opportunity to get to him. And he played with a lot of care, and he didn't really make any dumb mistakes. And so you have to give him credit for leaving him in there.
Did they tire you out a little bit, throwing a lot of bodies at you? Shots I know will come short a little bit.
No, I got tired at one moment in the second quarter, but for the most part, I felt good. My win felt good, and I think, when you miss 8 days, you would probably be worried about the win. But I think field practices where we did a lot of running, and the thing that was missing, I don't think was our win, was our continuity offensively. Defensively, I think we were pretty in sync, and we were very active. So I think offensively we were a little bit out of sync.
Okay, we'll just take a couple more questions.
Excuse me?
The double kind of pull between you and Peyton, what was that about?
I think that was a jump into a conclusion from a referee. I think, Peyton was saying something about the physical play, but I'm telling him just play. This is how you play in the finals. So it wasn't really any confrontation, on my part anyway. And, I felt they wanted to control the situation, felt it was out of hand, but it really wasn't.
Michael,
Sure. And the fourth quarter is the desire, execution, solid defense, maintaining the pressure, putting on the pressure, and you have to succumb to some of that pressure. Sometimes they succumbed to the pressure tonight, and we were able to, build from that, and hopefully we can continue to do that, especially in the fourth quarter.
Okay, one last question for Michael. The significance of winning this first game, now winning it, going away.
Well, the first game is always the hardest in a sense. You never really had a good feel. I don't think we had a good feel for this team until the first game. Now we can go back and make adjustments. We see how they're matching up. I'm pretty sure they're going to try to change certain things, but at least we have something to look at and try to get ourselves prepared. Before that, we really didn't have anything to prepare on, and I think the game one to win it and know you didn't play great offensively but play great defensively, it's a plus, and hopefully we can build upon this.
Okay, Sam Perkins will be up next. Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
All right, Michael again with 28 points. That's a team high behind Sean Kemp's 32, which was a game high. Michael with also 7 rebounds. We understand Tony Kukoc, one of the keys to the game, 18 points, is about to speak to the media, but right now we're going to hear from Sam Perkins. We earlier told you 14 points, Sam with 16 tonight.
Excuse me, I didn't hear you. Well, I wouldn't know anything about him struggling, but I mean, Kukoc is a very good player. So with that in mind, he steps up, he does what he has to do, and he takes what teams give him. So we just didn't play, to our game plan, and we uncharacteristically turned the ball over, which resulted into many points for them.
Do you think you guys had a chance to come and steal one? I know the last time we were in the finals, playing the Lakers, you hit game-winning shot, game one. Does any of that come into focus at all?
Well, I mean, that's a whole different era, a whole nother time. But, with this team, we, with all the things against us, I mean, we felt that we could win this game. But we stayed close, but now we have to realize that we have to play to win instead of trying just to stay subpar. There's no way to play to look good. You have to play regardless, whether you miss shots and that's the thing that we have to keep focus on, that if we miss shots or do anything uncharacter from our game, it's to always come back with our defense and try to do it again. So this time we let this game get away and they capitalize on everything that we didn't do.
What was the mood in the locker room? Like all the guys, blessing players?
Well, the mood was cool. I mean, it was. We knew that we didn't play well to win. Well, against Chicago, you have to take care of the ball. You have to execute. You have to go after and stay aggressive. For the most part, we were aggressive, but those turnovers were costly, and towards the end, miscommunication, and you just can't have that. So, being that game one is out the way, we'll go back and see what we didn't do to adjust.
Sam, realistically, wasn't this your best chance to steal the game in Chicago?
I don't know what you think. I don't know. I mean, as a player, as you watching, it might be that to you, but as a player, I think that any game is important. The first one is always the one that you just try to go out there and play hard and let the game feel you and let the game come. But we had our chances for this particular game. Game two hasn't been here yet, so that could be the game realistically to get and hope for the best.
Sam, the defense on Michael has done so well in containing him, but
I can't. So,
the defense on Michael had done so well.
I'm sorry. I heard him. The defense on Pippen.
The defense has played impact on
well, they are all. Keep in mind, both teams, love to play defense, and when you have Pippen and Jordan, who gamble and scramble a great deal, they get their hands on a lot of balls. They pressured us. They did what they had to do to keep the ball out of our point guard's hands, Peyton. So they play aggressive, but we have to match that. And I don't think we were necessarily bothered by it because we kept playing. But those turnovers, we just might as well just turn around and give them the ball for layups, and that really cost us a real game.
John, you want to take last question?
Sam, your defense had done such a good job of containing Michael Jordan, and now with the other Bulls players, scoring the double figures, and you think does the adjustment you have to make involve, concentrating less on Michael, and then what happens if you do that?
Well, the thing is that Michael is such an extraordinary player that he's going to get his points hook or crook. I mean, he has the potential to shoot as many times as he wants, or so. He's going to get his points either way, but we have to contain other players. Luka Longley played a very good game, and those things right there, and we can't let Chicago get so many chances to score. And with all that in mind, that is probably the key for us, and to go back down and execute and what do we have to do. But we have to take care of the ball. I think we had like 19, 20 turnovers, which was costly for this game.
Okay, thanks. Tony, we have
Sam Perkins meeting the media, mentioning the turnovers. Actually, Seattle with 17, Bulls with just 7. Bulls bench outscoring the Sonics 22-21 thanks to 18 points from Tony Kukoc. Steve Kerr tonight in 12 minutes, 0 for 5.
Well,
his first finals game.
First final, so a lot of that takes toll, and right now he was a little uptight in his shooting area, but he'll correct that.
Tony Kukoc now meeting the media.
The atmosphere is pretty much the same. Full gym, the same thing. It's just the difference in between European basketball and the NBA. There is a difference. There is a difference. This is the best, the ultimate you can have playing the ball.
How important was it for you to get a good start, get your head back on the right way, and get out of the slump that you were in tonight?
It's very important. I felt pretty confident these days, and I was just waiting for one game to come as it happened tonight. I realized I got to go down a little bit more and post up the guys instead of hoping that my three-point shot's going to go in every game and start with them. So I did go down and I post up at first. After that happened, that I hit 2 3-point shots that opened up the game. From that point, I felt pretty confident.
Did you use the 8 days to get better physically? Did you use that playoff to
Those 8 days really helped me to get back into shape, because after being out with the back problem, I didn't really practice, so I lost some of the physical things, and I worked these 8 days pretty much on that and on my shooting.
Were you surprised about guarding him and Shrimp having both duty night?
Well, I was pretty surprised. I don't think we knew how they were going to match up against us going into the game, and I think they wanted us to make a big issue of some of the cross matches with Shrimp on Michael and Payton on me, but I thought we did a good job of really just working through our offense and, letting the advantage take place somewhere throughout the execution of our offense.
What do you think about Ron Parker's game tonight?
Ron played tremendously well. He stayed focused. He still a lot of minutes early in the game, but I think he kept his focus throughout the game. And when he came back in, late in the fourth quarter, he was a big key for us to really step our defense up.
Scotty, do you think you demoralized them with your defense in the fourth quarter? Do you think that'll have a carryover effect to the game?
Well, I think they realized throughout the game that, we're a type of basketball team that continuously build our pressure. And late in the game, our pressure was a big factor. I'm sure they realized that they didn't execute well down the stretch of the game, and that was the turning point.
How important is it for you all not to let you guard now?
When you hit that 3-point shot, at that point, you say to yourself, I feel I've got it back. Give me the ball.
He always said that.
Pepper's right. I always say that, especially when I feel confident. It's that's not a thing to feel confident when you hit a few shots. Normally, you feel confident. You got to stay in and feel confident when the things are going wrong. That's the big thing. After hitting those shots, I will shoot any ball comes to my hands.
Does your defense demoralize them?
I feel like late in the game, I think our defense was the key. I feel like that they felt like we were going to be back on our heels, but we stepped up the pressure. We got a lot more aggressive, and guys started to play the passing lane, and that was kind of our game plan coming into this game, is not to allow them to get an early entry into the wings where they can go down and find Kemp early.
You guys kind of feel like the only way you all can lose or be defeated is if it happens amongst yourselves? Basically that too?
Well, I don't think so. I don't feel that way. I mean, we have a lot of confidence, but, I think coming into the day's game, we was a little nervous, really not knowing how well we was going to play as a team, having such a long layoff. But, we came in, and I think the crowd here really gave us that boost that we needed.
Scotty, the only thing that they did better than you, they had more rebounds. Would you like to do better on rebounding, or is that just part of the game that you don't worry about?
Well, we definitely would like to do better. I mean, I think rebound is definitely the key to wins and losses. And, they were a little bit quicker than we were tonight. They got to the loose balls. We bobbled a few balls around the basket, and they were able to pick them up. But, for the most part, our defense was a big key for us. Even the times when we lost the ball, we was able to get back defensively and not let them have easy baskets. Excuse me, I didn't hear you.
Any extra incentive playing against a team that drafted you and almost traded for you? Is that make any difference?
No, not really. That's something that really never crosses my mind about playing for Seattle or about being drafted to Seattle. Far as the way I look at the situation is I've been a Chicago Bull my whole career.
Tony, is there a little bit more media pressure here than in the game you played in Europe?
Much more. Much more.
Can you compare it?
No. No way.
Couple more questions for the players. Scotty, there was a shot of you on NBC cheering for Tony when he sank one of his threes. How nice was it to see that shot go down for him?
That was great. I think, Tony can speak for himself, but, even, when he struggled from behind the three-point shot, that's been his strong point, and he's been one of the guys that has helped his team with a lot of success this season, and we've always encouraged him to continue to take that shot, and it was great to see him find his rhythm behind the arc tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, one last question.
Tony, any comments on the officiating side?
Never. No comments on that.
All right, Scotty and Tony combining for 39 points tonight, and Tony looking like one of the fifth Beatles, huh?
A little Nehru action
Croatian Beatle.
Why not?
Earlier, Laura Oakman caught up with Sean Kemp. Well, let's show you what that looked like.
Feeling like you can play with these guys then?
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. I think, if anything, this game gives us some confidence. It makes us realize we're going to have to dig a little deeper and work harder for 4 quarters, but if we can come out, play hard, keep our intensity up, take care of the ball, each possession, get something out of it, we're going to be in good shape.
What are the positives that you pull out of this?
I mean, the positive is we didn't play very good. We were still in the game and had a chance to win.
So you see body.
That's part of the game.
You can probably copy him on his way.
There's some similarities in their defense and yours. Yeah, I think both teams get after it. I think, the thing that they did is their pressure bothered us late in the game because they go 94 feet with it. And that's probably something we're going to have to look at, too. So, it's about adjustments. If we come out, play a little more intensity, especially late in the game defensively, I think our chances are greater.
Sean, was it your plan to come out aggressive offensively? You're shooting the ball well right at the beginning.
My plan is to come out and play well every game. I don't sit around and think about shooting the ball. I just try to come out and play to the best of my abilities every game.
Sean, you talk about the turnovers, and that's where in the first half you guys had, I think, 10-1, but you were killing them rebound-wise, so you were staying in it. Second half, it kind of turned around.
It did. That's what I said before. The turnovers really hurt us late in the game. I think, anytime that you play against guys like this and with good offensive weapons, if you turn the ball over, they have the advantage. They have a 3-on-2 or 4-on-2, and 3-on-1 and things like that, and that hurts you. Anytime that you can give up a layup or a dunk or anything that uncontested, it's going to hurt you.
Did you play into their hands, you think, in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, anytime you turn the ball over, of course you're going to play in their hands. And we didn't take care of the ball, all of us didn't, late in the game. And when you have a chance to win, you got to pull it out.
Sean, you guys didn't trap much in this game. Should we see more next game, maybe?
You never know. I mean, we're going to play it by feel. We have been trapping for a couple weeks, actually, so this is not the first game we stopped trapping.
How do you get other guys more involved, including Gary? How does he get more involved?
Okay, you heard Sean Kemp, 32 points tonight. He definitely found his rhythm. Now he's hoping the rest of the team makes some adjustments and finds theirs. Let's send it back to you guys.
All right, that was Laura Oakman a few minutes ago, and also a few minutes ago, Luke Cannell has caught up with Luke Longley inside the Chicago Bulls locker room.
A great performance for you tonight, perhaps maybe vindication for the first 3 rounds when you had to go against all those big centers.
Yeah, I was happy with my performance tonight. Offensively, I was able to get some good looks, and you know, got to win. Can't complain about that.
You were aggressive tonight. It seemed like more aggressive than perhaps the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, I was certainly looking for my shot more. Defensively, I was as aggressive as normal.
Did you develop a new move out there tonight? There was one where I think you looked left and spun around right and took it to the glass.
Tripped over, fell on my face. No, that wasn't the one?
No, that wasn't the one.
No, the finals isn't the time to develop any new moves, but perhaps I got a chance to use a few more, for sure.
Luke, you picked up that 4th foul in the third quarter. I know you weren't happy about that. Difficult to cover a guy like Kemp?
Yeah, he's quick, you know, and it's I sometimes get myself in trouble with that quickness. But a lot of my fouls tonight were sort of helping out away from Kemp, you know, helping on the ball, and I got to do a better job not letting that happen.
This looked like a typical Bulls win where you stay ahead of them for 3 quarters and then you just race past them and wear them out in the 4th quarter.
Our defense in the 4th quarter really won the game for us. I thought we did a great job getting out in the passing lanes and just not letting them score. And it's, this series has been built as a defensive struggle, and we saw that tonight.
Luke Longley tonight, 14 points, but just 1 rebound. More interviews still to come. Norm and I are back after a break with more on tonight's Big Bulls win. Plus, look at a striking similarity between Storm and Norman and the Cos. We're back in less than 2 minutes.
At Solozzi Edelson Chevrolet. Remember, where you always save more money. You'll find hundreds of conversion vans and trucks at a price that will make you feel great. Like this new full-size conversion van for this low price. Or this new S10 pickup for this low price. We have over 300 vans and trucks ready for immediate delivery. It's going to feel good to pay less. At Solozzi Edelson Chevrolet in Elmhurst at York and Roosevelt Roads, where you always save more money.
Discover the defensive training secrets of America's finest baseball school in an exciting videotape. Baseball World's Defensive Drills video features professional scout and instructor Tommy Mansky and the same revolutionary new training techniques that have produced Baseball World's back-to-back-to-back AAU national championship teams. The Defensive Drills video vastly improves players' arm strength, running speed, quickness, agility, and infield and outfield defensive skills. Even coaches practice organization. Lou Pavlovich, Jr., editor of Collegiate Baseball magazine, calls it a masterpiece, the best defensive drill video ever produced. Many professional players are excited about this videotape. Just ask Atlanta Braves superstar Fred McGriff.
This is the instructional video that gets results.
Baseball World's Defensive Drills video makes a great gift and benefits players of all ages and ability levels. To order your copy for only $29.95, have your credit card ready and call toll-free. 1-800-274-4199. That's 1-800-274-4199.
It really worked for me.